Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the channel where we have two amazing guests today, and we are looking live, reviewing the wonderful, holy tome of zeal and determination and fire and heretic burning that is the Black Templar Supplement Codex. Hello everyone, welcome, thanks for hanging out. I've got two wonderful guests with me today for another 5 a.m. review. Or more like, whenever it is where you are.
Right.
But
5 a.m. here.
But to introduce the two guests for today, hello chat, hello everybody who's watching live. I hope you enjoy. We are going to have an absolute fun time because Black Templars were my original army, even though most people don't know that. But I played Black Templars before I played anything else. And I brought two wonderful guests from the Implausible Nature YouTube channel, which is a YouTube channel dedicated to Black Templars. So who better to bring on than Marshall Bob and Alex, or Ace Power, right? Marshall Bob?
Yep.
That's right, or Bob. And they've
having us.
woken up early. So please tell us a little about who you are before we dive into this juicy, juicy goodness.
Well, I'll let Bob start. Was Implausible Nature was originally his website, so I'll let Bob kind of go over the history a little bit there.
Yeah, so I'm Bob. Most people know me as Marshall Laroth. I've been a tournament goer for upwards of 20 years now. I started early 2000s, back when 3rd edition just came out.
Oof.
I started Ultramarines. Most people did back then. And then I saw and got my hands on that 3rd edition box set, and I never went back. Repainted all my Ultramarines Black Templars colors, and then we got the Codex Armageddon. It was all over after that.
Oh,
So
Armageddon was such a good codex. It was so good. So good.
Oh, yeah.
That's actually a little before my time. I started in 4th edition. I've always loved knight stuff. Anything to do with knights was always something that was interesting to me. So when I decided to get into 40k, a couple of my friends showed me the game. I love the miniatures, and so I went searching for the right army for me. I walked into the local hobby store, and I'm leafing through the codexes, and I picked up the Black Templars Codex, and the thing that got me was there's a description in the 4th edition Codex. They're talking about the Sword Brethren, and they said, they're the very image of a Baroque warrior knight. I was like,
That's it.
It's the army for
sold.
me. Sold. I went and bought the Codex, and that was like 16 years ago. I've been playing Black Templars ever since. They've pretty much been my only 40k army until last year, when I finally picked up a second army. I picked up Necrons.
Necrons.
We won't talk about that.
We won't talk about that here. That's heresy.
So,
the artwork, by the way, in the book is amazing. I'm flipping through some of these. Like, nice. I love this. This is like the vow of like when they go on crusade, when Gulliman the Divisive, they call him.
Right.
Brings shade on the Space Marine legions, and like they have to split up the. But he's still a son of the God Emperor, right? So they still like hold him in really high regard, but he's like the Divisive. Anyway, so lore aside, yes, I've been playing since the Armageddon Codex back in 3rd edition as well, with Black Templars, and I will say they have done justice to what I feel Black Templar should be with this. Yeah, they've got old art, they've got new art. There's some like, I love the fact that they've gone old school and put like, little. I don't know if you can see here, but there's like little like sayings in the margins of the books and stuff, like literally like scribbled in and whatnot. Like, oh man, And that's like
one of
some
my favorite
classic
parts of the old codex.
Yeah, it's just classic GW stuff, so it feels very Black Templar-y. And I actually, for the first time in a very long time, sat down and read all the lore in this book.
Nice.
I don't normally read like Codex lore, not even the Dark Eldar lore. When the new Codex came out, I was like, I didn't read the whole book from cover to cover. This, I read from cover to cover. Like I was
Awesome.
like, oh yeah. So that was
Obviously,
really cool.
I haven't seen any of the lore in the book yet, but something just from reading Games Workshop's articles on the lore and the various things they've put out, it's they really, I think, took to heart what fans have been saying on the internet for years about, staying true to our original lore. And I think so far everything that I've read online that they've posted lore-wise for us, I love. It's all awesome. They've really dived back into, referencing old stuff from the old codex. So really exciting.
They've redone like, the fact that they brought in the Crusader Primaris squads, and they've got like Crusader, like Primaris Sword Brethren squads now that have like special rules. And I really like how they kind of like set up the whole Guilliman bringing the Primaris to the Black Templars, and how like Guilliman didn't know how the Black Templars would take it or whatever, but Helbrecht was like, sure, yeah, we'll take more Crusaders, let's go burn some Xenos, like that sort of thing. So he's and they kind of keep the traditional the traditional layout of like neophyte Crusader, and I like it. So it's cool. So let's dive into the rules. Of course, you have not seen this. You haven't like, other than what was released online. Like this, this is you seeing this for the first time. I'm really excited because we're gonna see your reactions to the new book, to the new rules. They did preview some good stuff in the articles on GW though, like the Holy Orb of Antioch.
House. Yes, the Holy Orb.
Which is a classic. Anybody who's played
we've seen most
forever.
of the vows at this point too.
3 of the 4 vows they previewed.
Yeah.
They didn't preview the best one.
That one I think was leaked on the internet. Somebody posted an image of it on the internet.
Oh really?
So,
well, boo. Get out of here.
Yeah.
We're really excited for it.
But it is the best one, though. It is the best one.
Yeah.
They did leak. I did see somebody leak the combat patrol contents or whatever. Okay.
Yes,
so let's start with detachment abilities. I like the combat patrol. It's, like some intercessors and an impulsor and a marshal. It's pretty standard stuff. If anything, it is literally you're going to use this. Like you're going to use things that are in that patrol. So it's good. Okay, let's dive into detachment abilities. So a Black Templar detachment is one that includes only models with Black Templars that don't have Agent of the Imperium or Unaligned, right? And they're also Adeptus Astartes detachments. If every unit in your army, including unaligned units, has the Black Templar keyword, right? Then every unit that has a Combat Doctrines ability and is in a Black Templar detachment gains a Templar Vow ability below. So to do your vows, you essentially, at the end of the read mission briefing step, you select one of the following Templar Vows. This is important, and this replaces the super chapter tactic that like other... This is the Black Templar Super Doctrine, the vow. Except you get one of 4.
It's so fluffy.
Right? Right. Back in the day, you could pick your vow before the game started, and that affected your whole army. And it's back again, baby. Oh, yes.
I love that it's not restricted. I love that it's your whole army. Vehicles, non-core stuff, everything. Because there was a lot of concern. Our channel was all aflutter yesterday, talking about all the stuff that's come out, and there was a lot of concern that regular, non-core units like vehicles, things like that, would not be affected by the vows. So that is really awesome because it's, we can make use of our vehicles get all the same benefits and things like that. So really, really good stuff.
I love it. So, each vow has 2 parts to it, and it's the classic 4 vows. If you're a Black Templar fan, like suffer not the unclean to live, uphold the honor of the Emperor, abhor the witch, destroy the witch, accept any challenge no matter the odds. And historically, if you're a Black Templar player, you know what these vows do. historically. And I'm glad that they kept them very similar to what they did historically. Like, they didn't really go out of their way and kind of retcon the vows. They kind of just like adapted the vows to the new edition. If that makes sense.
Did they reprint the wording from the vows?
Oh, they did. Right here. All four, although I believe they might have changed. Like the original, I was going through the originals, but I do remember the whole uphold the honor of the emperor, because I used to pick that one a lot.
Yeah.
Trust in the emperor at the hour of battle. You know, like
one was 6+ invulnerable save back in 4th edition. I believe.
In 4th edition it was a 6-up invul. Suffer not the unclean to live was like +1 strength. Abhor the witch gave you the free game move. Accept any challenge was reroll hit rolls in combat or something, which was just ridiculous.
Was de facto
it was
best
like,
one.
Why? But you had to buy that back in the day. You had to buy it for your Emperor Champion, so it was like set into your army list. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
so
that's
you
right. It cost points.
Yeah, it cost points on your Emperor Champion, and that was a departure.
40 points or something.
It was the big one. And that was a departure from the original, which was pick, and then they were like, you have to pick one, but buy it for your Emperor Champion with your army list. You know, they kind of switched up a little bit. Now they're back to, you just pick one.
You just get one.
Which is amazing. Okay.
Yeah, we love it.
Okay, Templar Vows. Suffer not the unclean to live. This is what we would consider the traditional one that they had in the PDF, I believe. It's basically every time a model makes a melee attack against a non-vehicle unit, an unmodified hit roll of a 6 automatically wounds the target. That was what was in the PDF supplement.
Yeah.
Except it was only an assault doctrine. This one just happens all the time.
Yeah, well, and the one in the PDF was only when you charged. This one is all the time, which is awesome. So significantly better, yeah.
Now, each vow has a passion. The passion is sort of like a detriment that you have to do, or that affects your models. So you get like a bonus and a negative for being able to pick. And there are ways to kind of get around it and stuff and whatnot, but some of them are really... They're quite a detriment, especially in competitive play. Like, but for like fluffy lore, just friendly play, they're like perfect. They're amazing.
Yeah.
So the passion for Suffer Not the Unclean to Live, you have to declare a charge to an enemy unit within 12 if they're not engaged in combat. Which is like the old Berserker rule. Like, you have to try and chase people down and punch them.
Isn't the well, at least according to the thing that GW posted, if they're selected to charge, so it doesn't force you to attempt to charge.
Yeah, that is okay. Correct. So you have to the closest enemy non-vehicle each time this unit is selected to charge. So you don't have to charge if you don't want to, but you know, okay, fair enough. I hadn't read that nuance side of the rule.
When GW posts something on the rules, we're just all like.
Yeah, just with a fine-tooth comb, be like, only if you're selected.
This is the wording.
Yeah.
So, which is dangerous because Warhammer community doesn't always post the right thing. Remember the Pyre Blasters? We're like, yes, damage,
2 damage, baby. Just wait till you see
5 minutes later, you know. No,
well, I'm gonna be a fan of the 2 damage shotguns. We'll get to that in a second.
Ooh, spicy.
Spicy tamales. Then we'll go to what I believe is the best one. Okay, uphold the honor of the emperor. I believe is not the de facto vow, but that's just me. Okay, you can choose whichever way you want. But while this vow is in effect, all models in the unit have a 5-up invulnerable save. Okay, like we're talking tanks, dreadnoughts, infantry, like everything has a 5-up invul save. That is ridiculous. Yeah. That is nuts. And every time an attack is made against this unit, an unmodified wound roll of a 1 or 2 fails, irrespective of any abilities the weapon might have, or the model making the attack may have. Mini transhuman, which really helps against strength 8 weapons, but against like vehicles, it helps against like the 14 weapons or whatever, like the crazy super strong weapons.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
But even like that, it helps our firstborn units a lot too, like Terminators and Vanguard vets who don't have access to transhuman. So there's a lot of +1 wound rolling around out there. I know Blood Angels just get it naturally. Drakari have a lot of like wound
Poison
on 2-up
stuff. Yeah,
poison
like
stuff. So
the triptych whip
getting-
comes to mind.
yeah, being able to reduce that to being wounded on a 3 instead of a 2 is really important, because people are going to target the units like Terminators with big, heavy, high strength weapons because they want to kill them in one go instead of chip damage.
Yeah,
So
I really like that. Like, that's my
Yeah.
favorite. I was reading that, I was like, why would I not take this every single time? Right?
Yeah.
Like, it's just
It's really
so
powerful.
Good. It is very, very good. And then the passion is every time an enemy model makes an attack against you, you do not receive the benefits of cover against that attack. Which I also believe means dense and light and heavy.
It does. So I looked.
You just can't hide.
I looked it up. This is actually in the rare rules in the rule book. It ignores basically all forms of cover with the exception of obscured. You don't get to ignore obscured because we don't benefit. So that is, at least you get that.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's really mostly going to matter against AP 1 and 2. So you're not going to have to worry about AP 3. You're going to be
You're
on
taking
that
your invul anyway, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But I think the dense does kind of like, if you really like using like forests or whatever to stop people from like shooting you and whatnot, it could. But if you don't use forests at all and you playing on bowling ball land or whatnot, and you just have a 5-up environmental save,
or mostly ruins,
or ruins.
There's a lot of ruins. Ruins are really common. So
anyway, I like Apollyon of the Emperor. Plus, the vow is one of the coolest vows, which you can you can memorize and enchant to your opponent in their face and make them, they light a candle for good measure, as GW said. Make sure that they're quivering in their boots as you show up in full cosplay, ready to take them down.
Yeah, awesome.
I think this is what the vow that most Black Templars players are going to be building around. I mean, this is so huge.
Yeah. Now, there's a way to make units have multiple vows, or a unit to have a second vow as well. So, or to have the benefits of a second vow. So you can pick one and then have a chaplain basically giving people another vow. So you can have if you want +1 attack and assault doctrine, or if you want a pre-game move or whatever it is, you can actually have this or 6s to wound auto wound. You have the chaplain telling people to double vow things, which will be really cool.
Nice.
So we'll get to that in a second as well. So the third vow: abhor the witch, destroy the witch. This is the anti-psyker vow, if it wasn't clear from the name. The vow is once per battle in your first movement phase. If there are any enemy psykers in your opponent's army, not necessarily on the battlefield, they could literally put him in reserve, for example. You add 3 inches to the move of models in the unit. And every time a model in this unit makes a melee attack against psykers, you reroll wound rolls of 1. So, it's, okay. A 5-up invulnerable save might not come in handy sometimes if, they do a billion mortal wounds or whatever. Sure.
We got to save against that.
But you got to save against that, so you might as well go get reroll 1s to wound against psykers or something. You could kind of do a judgment call before the game starts. I think that's where the power of the vow lies. You can look at your opponent's army list and go, you have no AP3 weapons, eh? Well, I'm going to use my cover. I'm going to hide behind this forest, and I'm going to pick this other vow, or whatever.
I feel like this is probably the weakest one of the 4.
It is. Yeah. But it's really cool. If you run that chaplain that I was telling you about with the extra vow, and the opponent has a psyker, and you've got some outriders, you could pray to give outriders extra 3-inch move and zoom them up the board on the first turn, and just give it to one unit to go and harass the opponent or something, which I think would be pretty cool. But they're going to be more support vows. Definitely not a 5-up invul save. I'll tell you that much.
It's not a 5-up.
While an enemy psyker is within 18 of this unit, this is the passion part, they cannot perform any actions. Now that one does sting, though. If
that
you need to
stings a lot.
Yeah. Oh, I need to put up a banner. No! There is a witch nearby and I can feel it. Go murder the witch.
That's a big one. Some of the easiest secondaries are are action based, so that's gonna be critical, especially if you're playing Circer heavy armies. It'd be very rare that those units are not going to be within the 18-inch.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like it's, banners, retrieve Octera's data. Like there's all these things, especially for competitive play. It would suck to like be within 18 inches of a psyker and your opponent being like, you can't do your mission objectives. So be careful with that sort of thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Then we've got accept any challenge, no matter the odds. So while the vow is in effect, if you're in engagement range of an enemy unit, you get the bonus assault doctrine. So AP basically, you get the bonus AP while being in engagement range of the enemy, even if it's like turn 1 or turn 2. And every time you fight, you get +1 attack, even if you haven't charged. So it's basically a +1 attack whether you've charged or not, right? And you're in assault doctrine in close combat. So
this one's solid.
It's good.
Yeah, it's not a 5-up invul, but it's good. And you mentioned that there's a way to add a second vow with the chaplain. So adding this one, especially in like a protracted combat where it's it's that second round of combat, you just give dudes a +1 attack and the extra AP, which is nice. The other thing I like about this is that they get the bonus AP for assault doctrine only when they fight. So when they go to shoot in turn 2 and shoot their assault and rapid fire guns, they're getting that tactical doctrine bonus, and then if they charge, they're getting that extra bonus on their weapons as well. So
if you were to take this one, you could literally like keep the tactical doctrine active for like the extra turn, for example. Be like, okay, turn 2, turn 3, all my bolters are going to be amazing. But if I'm in combat, I'm still good in combat.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel this is like a close second to the 5-up invulnerable save. I like this. Yeah. However, the passion for this one is you just can't fall back. Which
is really fluffy.
Ooh, it is.
Might screw you sometimes.
This is something a good player would totally take advantage of. They'd be like, oh, is that your rhino or whatever? Well, that rhino can't fall back now, and I'm immune to being shot. You know? So you have to be careful with that sort of thing. Yeah, 100%. In the chat says we're like berserkers. Possibly a new one.
And for those of you who played in 4th edition, if you remember, we were fearless in 4th edition, and at one point or another, if you were fearless, you couldn't fall back. You were stuck.
Oh, that is very true. You couldn't fall back.
You were stuck.
In 3rd edition back in the day, when you failed a morale test, you ran towards the enemy. You didn't run away. You charged the enemy harder than you did originally, which was always really, really fun.
Well, and then on top of that, back then, if you failed a morale check in combat, you could be. They had a rule called sweeping advance, where you could just be wiped off the board. Of course, Space Marines were immune to that. I had one person who didn't know that rule at one point. Was like, "Oh, I'm going to try to run you down." I'm like, "No, you won't. 1, I'm Space Marines, and 2, I'm fearless. So good luck with that."
Yeah,
he was like, "No."
Crypt Shadow says, "Do vows affect vehicles?" Yes, they do indeed. Okay, so let's dive in to two of my favorite pages of this book, the stratagems. Right, these are of course in addition to the Space Marine stratagems. So we'll go through them. We've got, I think it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 strats. So nothing crazy. Some of them are useful, some of them are not. Yeah,
it's on par with the other supplements, which is
3 of them are pre-game strats. Right, so the red ones are pre-game strats. They're the extra Warlord Trait, extra Relics, that sort of thing. So we'll kind of get to those and what that means. And so let's take a look at these, shall we? This is like the meat and potatoes. We're getting to the meat and potatoes of this supplement here. Number 1, Devout Push was already leaked. Well, not leaked, but put up on the page. They changed it. It is no more. Right, so it's not the same as it was. It's 1 command point. You pick a core or character unit from your army. If they're not within engagement range, that unit can make a normal move up to 3 inches, and it must end its move either closer to the enemy or closer to the objective marker. To the nearest objective marker.
Yeah.
And if it's within engagement range of any enemy units, it just makes a pile-in move. Now, the pile-in move in combat is really, really good. Anybody who knows about movement in combat means that if you can pick a unit at the start of the fight phase and they're already in combat, they can pile in. So if they're already in combat, Devout Push can be used to contact another enemy unit, stop people from piling in and consolidating the way they want to. Like, you can kind of move in and
onto
base
an
stuff
objective
and
or something.
stop them from moving around. So it's still pretty shenanigan-y. If you have a unit near an objective, near a transport, you could literally Devout Push them close to the transport, then get into the transport, because it's the normal move. So you can have like a unit of Devastators with like multi-melters or something, like get out, shoot, Devout Push to an objective that's closer, but be within 3 inches of a transport, and then hop into the transport. Like there's lots of, so you can do some like shenanigans with it. It's just not as silly as it used to be.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, I think anybody who seriously expected it to survive its previous iteration was probably kidding themselves. It was so powerful, and I don't think GW intended for us to really be able. I don't think they were thinking that we were going to be using it primarily as a way to get into combat. I was expecting it to get nerfed when they previewed it the other day. I was like, yeah, this is basically the best case scenario, because we can still use it as a huge movement tool to help get Terminators and things like that are slower units across the board. I actually think that in some ways it's a lot better, because now it's core units, not just infantry or bikers. And that means that we can Devout Push a Dreadnought. And adding the bit about going towards an objective instead is also really awesome, because if you are sitting on an objective and you need just a little bit more movement to like get into melta range or get line of sight on something, you can move up a little bit, do the thing that you need to, and then sneak back to that objective.
I think that what you
which
just
is
said
huge.
is like the key. Like having, say, a dreadnought with like, or a contempt dreadnought, so like a quadruple last cannon contempt dreadnought that has the core keyword, right?
Yeah.
Like literally, you could have him on your objective in the backfield, just scoot out just a little bit so he can see stuff with his last cannons, and then like Devout Push behind the wall again, so he can't get shot back. Because there's an objective
that's
there.
pretty awesome. That's
Yeah,
really
that's
powerful.
cool. Yeah.
That's really powerful. Because before, I mean, like, yes, you could sort of move towards an objective as long as you ended closer to the enemy than you were previously, and that worked. But it's a little gamey with the measuring going on, and you couldn't go backwards. So if the objective was behind you, you were kind of screwed. Now you can literally just go backwards, which is awesome. So, yeah.
Yeah. Your thoughts, Bob?
Yeah, I think it's a great change, because we knew it wasn't going to allow it and survive into getting us into close combat. So this, honestly, as Alex said, couldn't have gone better for getting a nerf that it did. There's a lot of tactical applications for it, and we kind of went through them. Some a little bit of little peekaboo shenanigans are going to be kind of cool.
I love it that it's Black Templars being like, pew pew. Like all zealous, like
hello,
angry,
heretics.
Like, I'm gonna, hello. I love it. It's fantastic. So the second stratagem is Vicious Repost, and this was actually buffed from the last one. So use a stratagem at the start of the fight phase. Pick a Black Templar core unit from your army, and until the end of the phase, every time a model in the unit is destroyed by a melee attack and does not explode, roll a d6, and now when it's on a 5+, it bounces back a mortal wound instead of on a 6. Because before it was on a 6, you bounce back a mortal if you died in combat. Now it's if you die in combat, you bounce back mortals on a 5+. So it's like, and this is up to a max of 6 mortal wounds per phase. So you can only do 6 mortal wounds back, but if you have like a Crusader squad, for example, that is 20 mortals big, and somebody comes in and murders 12 of your unit, you roll 12 dice, and for every 5+, you bounce back a mortal wound. Like, you can do some damage back while you die, That's anybody who plays Tyranids who does Caustic Blood with 30 Termagants knows that this can be game winning. Yeah, imagine
Yeah.
just imagine the Triptych Whip Succubus jumping into your unit of Crusaders, like a big block of 20 Crusaders, and going, I have 10 attacks or whatever, wounding, two damage each, and she kills like 8 of them in one go. And you go, okay, you know what? 8, you do 4 or 5, like 5 pluses or whatever. You get lucky, you get 5 pluses. She's dead. She just dies. She just keels over dead.
Nice.
As they like stab her while she's killing them all. That's like incredibly powerful in the meta
When
right
does
now.
when is the trigger again on this? Is
It's
it
at the start of the fight phase.
start of the fight phase? Okay.
Yeah. So like, okay, so you have to like know, you have to kind of guess that they're gonna all get murdered or whatever, or
Yeah.
like not get interrupted or whatnot. But at the same time, sure, I like it. It's 1 CP. And it especially if you got neophytes in the unit and it's a firstborn Crusader squad and you've got 1 wounded neophytes, those are perfect for this because you just like kill a bunch of them, and then you do a whole bunch of mortal wounds back.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the previous one, it was on a save roll of a 6. So it worked really well on really, really durable units like Terminators or something like that.
Unmodified roll of a 6, so even if you didn't have a
Yes.
save, you still got to roll.
You
That is
still got
correct.
to roll.
Yeah.
Now the unit has to die. So I think the application for this is shifting from a really durable unit like Terminators that are usually small in number to something like a huge, like you said, a huge Crusader blob.
Yeah.
And maybe you didn't take that 5-up invul this turn, or this game. So something like it's gonna mow through your dudes, and it, and then you can just say, hey, here's a bucket of dice, have fun with some mortal wounds.
Yeah, I want to bring up what Alexander said in the chat. He says, I love that Devout, this is going back to Devout Push real quick. I love that it can be used in your opponent's fight phase. That is very, very true because
Still
you can
do
use
that, which
it
is good.
to, in the fight phase, that's after charge moves and stuff, right? So you can use it to contest objectives, especially, or to get onto objectives before your turn happens, so that then you can score your points. If that makes sense, like you can score points then in your command phase for contesting an objective in your opponent's fight phase. Like the mechanics of that from a competitive standpoint is really
Powerful.
Strong. Very
well, and I'm glad they kept
strong.
that part of it because they could have easily said in your fight phase XYZ, but it's still the fight phase, which means you can do it in your opponent's turn. So still really, really powerful. We lost the ability to get into combat with like a fake charge. But that's okay. I think the utility of it has gone up as a objective scoring and other areas. We're Black Templars. We reroll charges. We shouldn't have trouble getting into combat. And honestly, a savvy opponent is going to stay out of Devout Push range to make sure they don't get heroically intervened on. Essentially, by our units.
That doesn't really happen anymore with a normal move.
No,
right? You
no,
can't,
but
you have to stay.
Can't
an inch
do that
away.
anymore.
Yeah,
but previously, smart and top opponents are gonna know that and avoid that in most cases anyway, unless it's absolutely unavoidable. So, it's not as it's good on your turn, but in their turn, you weren't going to be doing it anyway. So
yeah. Vicious Repost, okay, we talked about that one. Okay, the third battle tactic stratagem is called Crusaders Wrath. So
Great
use
name.
it in your command phase, and every chapter has one of these. This is the Black Templar one. It's the once per game, and then it affects every single model in your army, basically.
Nice.
Right, so like I think Imperial Fists have one where their bolters do more shots on 6s or something, or like Raven Guard have one where they get a bonus to hit or something like that. So this is like the Black Templar version. Once per game, it affects everything in your army. Wow. Use it in the command phase if the Assault Doctrine is active for your army. So turn 3 or turn 4 onwards. Until the start of your next command phase, each time a Black Templar model from your army makes an attack with a pistol or a melee weapon, an unmodified wound roll of a 6 improves the AP by 1. This is cumulative with the bonus from Assault Doctrine, and you can only use it once. So your Astartes Chainswords are AP2 in Assault Doctrine. You pop this strat for 2 CP. Army-wide, all of a sudden, all your close combat weapons get an additional AP on a 6 to wound. right?
Not bad.
And so if you're stuck in and you're just like, I need to get through the armor or something,
Extra push. Yeah.
you can just kind of pop it to get that extra damage through, and it's just once per game. I think it's
Nice.
not. I don't think it's one you'll see very often, but it's one that, like, if it's in the right situation, it could tip the scales in your favor just a little bit.
Yeah.
You know,
A late game charge, something like that.
yeah.
Especially a unit with a lot of attacks, like Assault Intercessors or the new Crusaders.
Yeah, even with
Presumably.
pistols, right? Because you get Assault Doctrine,
Yeah.
pistol, extra AP, then your pistols go an extra AP on top of that on 6s. It works
Don't
really
forget
well
to
if
shoot
you
your
had, like,
pistols.
never forget to shoot your pistols. As a Black Templar player, you have one strat. Do you have pistols? Yes, I do. Yes, good job.
Yes.
It's really nice that it's pretty flexible, that it affects everything in your list, so you don't have to target it on a specific.
Yep.
Yep.
unit.
Just 2 CP for all the models in your army. So, yeah, that's pretty
Nice.
cool. For the Emperor's Honor, 2 command points. These are epic deed stratagems. So there's 2 command points. Use this stratagem in the fight phase. Select 1 Black Templar character unit that's not a vehicle, and 1 enemy character unit. Until the end of the phase, every time that enemy character unit is selected to fight, if the Black Templar character unit is within engagement range of that enemy character unit, the enemy character unit has to attack the Black Templar character.
Wow. That's like the old challenges.
He literally, filled with the spirit of Sigismund, this warrior roars a challenge to his foes, daring them to
There it
face
is.
him in single combat.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So you get a sacrifice myself to save all of my friends from this, like, character strat. I love this stratagem. Blood
Especially
Angels
against
have
like
a similar
the
one.
succubus.
Yeah, especially against something that'll murder your troop squad. You can have, like, your lieutenant go, I challenge you to single combat, and then, like, fall over dead. And then potentially fight in death, because you have the fight in death stratagem from the Space Marine Codex, right? So you can still potentially fight when you die, and save, like, the squad that they were, like, with. This is a very powerful stratagem.
And you can use Devout Push to make sure that you're in engagement range of that character.
Or to pile in extra, or whatever it is. This is a great strat.
Yeah.
Because there are some killy characters out there, and you being able to go, my little apothecary or whatever is going to stop you from killing my squad that's going to help me win the game, and he's going to just, like, take one for the team. Amazing.
And it's fluffy. It's really fluffy to challenge another character. It's a very Black Templar thing to do.
Yeah,
and it has a lot of really good application.
Yep.
It has a lot of good applications, which is nice.
Yeah, and I'm sure you'll break this down. You'll go through all the tactics of, like, everything that you can do. You'd be like, oh yeah, I cannot wait to see all the cool content you'll be doing with that. Okay, but that one's really, really strong. I like that stratagem a lot. Like, a lot. Imagine if, like, Morven Vol or Saint Celestine or whatever runs in, right? And Saint Celestine comes in and, like, tries to murder, like, all your units. You'd be like, I challenge you. And then she has to fight your, like, little lieutenant or whatever. So
or
good.
big monster characters like the Swarm Lord.
Oh yeah, or like a you know, anything like that, like a crazy brood lord that's gonna, like, eat your little tactical squad.
And they're standing on an objective late game. Nope. You're gonna kill me instead.
Yeah,
maybe if I make my invul saves.
If I make my 5-ups, which I now have thanks to my vow, you know, good old apothecary.
The lowly apothecary. I have a 5-up.
I'm gonna boss every 5-up.
Give myself combat drugs.
Yeah. Then we have one of my favorites. It's called Bombastic Delivery.
I love the names on these. Great.
Use this stratagem in your command phase when you select a Black Templar chaplain to recite a litany. Okay. 1 litany that unit recites is automatically inspiring, so you don't have to roll. This is 2 command points. And this unit can recite an additional litany this turn.
Wow.
So if you have a master chaplain, you would have 1 automatically cast, and then you could do your 2 other ones again. And you still have access to the Ancient Breviary, so you can still be rolling 2 dice and pick the highest on a master, which is +1, for example.
Wow.
So you could literally have 1 chaplain give 3 bonuses in a command phase for 2 CP. And
That's
one of them
really
is
good.
automatic. Oh yeah, I
That's
love
really
this
good.
one.
And because you pick that one that you know you need to go off,
Mhm.
like if Divine Protection is still there, get that 5-up Feel No Pain for sure on that
It's
unit. You
still
need it.
there, baby.
Still there.
Ho, ho,
All right.
ho. Yeah.
So, and then you get to cast another one. So even on a regular chaplain, you can, if you're like, I want the rerolls to hit, but I also want to do this other thing.
Yeah.
You can get both. This is actually way better than the one that's in Codex Space Marines
Yeah.
because that one you can do it out of sequence,
Yeah.
but that's the only vow you're doing that.
Only
Or
the one.
not vow,
Now on
the
a
only
monster
litany
that
you're
one's
doing that one.
cheaper though, so you go down to 1 CP for that.
Right.
I
Right.
like that one, and we'll get to it in a second. You know, when you get out of a transport with a unit or come in from reserve with a
Yeah.
unit, you can kind of have that
That
chaplain
one's
to come in and
good.
be
Yeah.
like, I'm going to recite the +2 charge out of deep strike or whatever.
Yeah.
So I can
Yeah,
just do
it's
it out of
handy for that.
sequence. It's good for that sort of like
But
combo.
this is fantastic. That is
This
a
is
great
amazing.
stratagem.
And
This is
there's
a
a
really
lot
great
of things
stratagem.
that have to do with chaplains, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, chaplains just in general are really integral to even some of the secondaries that Black Templars can take. So, like, you're going to have chaplains. And,
Yeah.
like, you need to have chaplains to, like, you know, so you're going to use chaplains a lot of the time. So, yes, you're going to use the stratagem. I like it a lot. Okay,
Yeah,
so
this
let me
thing
go in. What was that, Bob?
I said, yeah, this thing is amazing. You know, the ability to do 3 in a turn. And I imagine we'll be getting to Grimaldus here pretty quick. I heard some rumors about that. It'll be a little bit nice on that, too.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with Grimaldus. I love Grimaldus. He's like a fun character.
He's such a badass. I love him.
He is a great character. Okay, 3 requisition stratagems. So we've got revered repositories. Okay, so 1 command point. You can pick a model in your army that's either a sergeant or sword brother in their profile. So like a sergeant or a sword brother. So you could do a Terminator sergeant or a sword brother sergeant or whatever, or a sword brother just in general. That's not a character. They can have the Witch Seeker bolts, the Sword of Judgment, the Skull of Cacodomius, and or a Mastercrafted weapon or digital weapons. So essentially, it's give a relic to a sergeant.
Yeah.
Some of my favorites include, I like the Witch Seeker bolts. They're really cool, especially if you're putting on like a heavy intercessor with like some crazy like super bolter stuff, because it's a little different now. Now the Witch Seeker bolts is like you do damage in addition to like the damage that it would normally do. So if you put on like a 2 damage bolter or something, or a 3 damage bolter, it's going to do the damage plus mortal wounds, which is really neat. So you can have like this anti-psyker sniper guy, which is really fun.
There's some memes to be had for sure.
Yeah, the the Sword of Judgment is essentially a -3 AP Thunderhammer. It's just like a 3 damage power sword. So you could have like your sergeant in like a Crusader squad have like a Thunderhammer just hidden in that Crusader squad for a command point, which is really fun. We'll get to the relics in a second, but it's nice to like put them on there and like have some cool stuff, which is pretty neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you said mastercrafted weapons, so I'm guessing that we now have access to the special issue war gear generic options that
Mastercrafted
we have
weapon,
long been
artificer
missing.
armor, adamantium mantle, digital weapons. Yeah, you basically get
Nice.
the standard stuff.
It's about time, because that was missing from the index. We didn't have any of that. So
cheeky.
yeah.
I do like the mastercrafted weapons on like like a what are they called? A Grav Sergeant guy. Not the Grav Sergeant. They're in Gravis armor. The guys with flamers or whatever. The
Aggressors.
You can give him like mastercrafted flamers basically, and he goes around with like his 2 damage flamers being like wah, wah, like so that can be really fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so for 1 command point we have the Heir of Sigismund. This allows you to pick a non-named character that you pick to be your warlord. So just like a chaplain or a captain or a marshal or whatever. And you can give them an additional warlord trait. but it has
Love
to be
it.
one of the Black Templar Warlord traits, which we get to in a
Love it.
second. So you can have your Warlord can have 2 Warlord traits.
I
As
love
long
it
as
because
one
all
of
the
them
other
is a Black
chapters have
Templar
had
one.
that. We have not had that with the index, so I'm very happy to see that we can double up Warlord traits because there's some good ones. There's some good ones in the Codex Space Marines, and I know at least previously we had really good Warlord traits
And we'll get to the
ourselves.
Warlord
So
traits.
being able to,
There's some
can't
interesting
wait.
ones in there, so
Yeah,
that's really cool.
nice.
But it is neat to kind of be able to double up, as long
Yeah,
as you have to pick the Black Templar one for it though, which is fine. But it does mean you can pick
this is fun.
one from the Space Marine book,
In the Space
then
Marine.
one
Yeah.
from this book, and then have your
Yep.
like my Marshal who's in Terminator armor, Thunderhammer Storm Shield, and I give him like Imperium Sword, and on top of that give him like something else, you know what I mean, and make him like even killier. Amazing. And then we have one of my favorites, which is called Champion of the Feast. For 1 command point, use a stratagem before the game. Pick a Black Templar model from your army that is either a sergeant or a sword brother. That model gets +1 attack, +1 wound, and +1 weapon skill.
Wow. Oh my god. That's so good.
So
Super soldier.
So good.
So my Terminator sergeant is now 4 wounds. Or my Blade Guard veteran sergeant, right, has
4
an extra
wounds.
wound now, and has +1 weapon skill, and has +1 attack, right?
Wow.
Which, if you don't forget, GW previewed the Ignore AP 1 and 2 Relic Bearer, so then you could have a Terminator sergeant with a Thunderhammer Storm Shield, with the relic of Ignore AP 1 and 2, with 4 wounds.
4 wounds, yeah.
He's like a mini character, and
Yeah.
then he can take all of the shots from everything your opponent takes at him, and then you resurrect him with the apothecary. Every time.
Well,
Yep.
one thing that I note
So
is that
silly.
it's not +1 to hit; it's +1 weapon skill. That's important because that means if you take or get a +1 to hit from somewhere, like Fury of the First, you are now hitting on 2s with a Thunderhammer, which is hilarious.
Well, it's
So
also
with an extra attack.
Yeah, an extra attack and an extra wound. Man, that 4 wounds is going to be incredible. Oh, like a sergeant.
It's so ridiculous.
He's going to be so killy. Like that one guy in the middle of the squad is going to be like a little mini character hero. Just surrounded by like his entire squad. You'd be like, oh, that guy's so annoying to kill. Oh, yeah.
I've killed him 3 times. You've resurrected him every time. That is amazing. Good. And that's 1 CP. That is amazing. That is a great stratagem.
That is worth every penny.
Every game. Put that on someone every game. You're just starting the game with 1 less CP because you're using that strat. That is amazing.
It's literally a character. Turns him into a character in the middle of a squad.
Turns him into a character.
You just like so
that can't be targeted.
Yeah, it's just like a big thunder Sword of Judgment guy being like,
Sword of Judgment,
like, just try to get rid of him, right? Okay, that's one of my favorites. Okay, so then we go to the strategic ploy strats. Number 1, Abhor the Witch. This is your standard deny a psychic power. So for 1 command point in your opponent's psychic phase after a psychic test is passed, and after any Deny the Witch attempt has been made. So if you have a Deny the Witch, you could, like from a chaplain or Warlord Trait or whatever, like Grimalis has a Deny the Witch, for example.
Nice.
If the psychic is within 24 inches of any Black Templar units, on a 4+, you deny the power.
So stay the same. So good.
Yeah. It doesn't matter what the thing was. Now, there are some abilities nowadays where, 1,000 Suns and, you can do psychic powers and they cannot be denied. So, against that sort of thing, it's not as useful, but it is good that it's just on a 4+. It's quite powerful. Just be like, oh, that power, I
50% chance to
on a 4+.
Just ignore it.
It just goes away, right? It can be very, very strong. I don't think we have to spend too much time on that one. That's been a Black Templar thing.
It's been around, and I'm glad it's still there.
Yeah.
So, A+.
1 command point. Tenacious Assault. Use this stratagem when an enemy infantry or beast unit that doesn't fly is within engagement range of Black Templars. This is the hold units in combat. But instead, when they're selected to fall back, roll a dice. They've changed it. It's now on a 4+. The unit can't fall back. So it's no longer on a 2+. They did, it was really strong on a 2+ though.
Yeah.
However,
they did reduce its cost
to it though, and it's 1 command point.
It's only 1 now instead of 2. It was 2 before. So
So
still, I mean, just the 50% chance to just be like, no, you're not going anywhere. If you weren't quite able to wrap and trap that unit,
mhm.
it's still useful, not quite as good as it was. I'm glad they at least reduced the cost. So
Being
Yeah.
from
that makes
someone
it
who plays
a
with
little bit more.
witches, this is game winning. Having something in there is like having something that can hold something in combat. I don't care how little it is. Like it can win you the game because you'd be like,
Yeah.
oh, you want to shoot you want to shoot my and this is of any Black Templar unit. They changed this. You don't have to be within engagement range of a Black Templar infantry unit anymore. Now it's any
Oh,
Black
okay.
Templar. You can literally
Nice.
have a rhino like hold a unit of infantry.
That's kind of cool.
up, right?
I like it.
Anything. Any Black Templar unit. It's like, oh, I'm going to. It doesn't even have to be a core unit. It could literally be any unit you have in your army against an infantry or beast unit.
Nice.
Be like, yeah, on a 4+ you can't fall back from me. You could have your dreadnought with 1 wound remaining, fighting a little cyber wolf, and your opponent has like 4 Contemplar dreadnoughts, and you're like, on a 4+ you can't shoot me.
Nice.
Amazing. I like that one.
Yeah.
No, one
It's
CP.
very fluffy too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where are you going? Stay right here. You're gonna fight me. This is gonna be a punch combat thing. 1 CP, Strength of Conviction. Use a stratagem in your command phase. Select a Black Templar core unit. Until the start of your next command phase, that unit has objective secured.
Wow. Okay.
Boom.
Here's my Redemptor Dreadnought. Oh, look, he's got objective secured. That's awesome.
And it's in the command
Only
phase, so
one-
you do it before
Yeah.
scoring. So you could be like, oh, now this was contested. Now I own this.
Cool. Now I own it. That's
Or these
really
are my
good.
Black Templar Terminators. Now they're objective secured. Go forth and kill stuff. Blade Guard veterans.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is. Yeah. Or the bikers. You can be
That's
like,
great.
these are my Outriders. They're now OBSEC.
Yeah.
Go!
That's awesome, especially that you can do it before you score. So if you're like, oh, let's see, I'm 1 short, or the objective is contested and they're not OPSEC. Bloop. Now they are.
Oh, I'm going to hold you in combat 50% of the time. You can't go anywhere, and I'm still holding this objective. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and for 1 CP, this is incredibly powerful.
Really good. Really, really, really good.
It's one of the best
Very
strats.
strategic.
It's so good. It's
Yeah.
really good. I hope everybody in chat's like, oh my gosh, what are they doing? Giving Black Templars all this cool stuff. You're
Well,
damn right.
and then that's right. We deserve it. We deserve it. We've waited 17 years. No, but this is one of those that like some players may just look at and be like, oh, it doesn't help me kill stuff. No, but it helps you win games. It's so important. There's a reason Rites of War is one of the most popular warlord traits for Space Marines, because it helps you win games. And now you don't need it. Oh, my Rites of War character died. That's okay. Boop.
We got another one.
We got another one.
100%.
So,
but that one's really good. You're gonna
Awesome.
be putting some CP aside for that all the time, and it's any core unit. So dreadnoughts, bikes, grav guys, like anything that's like you just put it on anything. It's just so strong. The Emperor's Will. Strategic ploy, 1 command point. Use this in the shooting phase. Select a Black Templar infantry unit for your army that advanced this turn. This used to be advanced and charge. They did take away the advanced and charge part.
oh,
Yeah, that's a bit of a... that does sting. They did take away... So we've gained stuff and we've lost stuff.
Yep.
You can shoot with your pistols, rapid fire, or assault weapons when you shoot after advancing. Right? So being able to shoot with rapid fire weapons as well is actually something they added in, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So you can like run around with your bolters or your heavy bolt rifles or whatever it is, or your rapid fire weapons and still advance and shoot with them. Okay, fair enough. And you do not suffer the penalty for firing assault weapons. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So you can advance and still shoot at full ballistic skill.
Yeah, it's 1 CP, so it's not terrible.
It's not advance and charge, but at least it's still useful.
Yeah, it's useful, but it's definitely not. It's not what it used to be. So you're gonna have to charge like a normal person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No more first turn charges.
Well, Well, if there's a psyker in the enemy army and you make a unit go a little bit faster,
Or they come towards us.
or you
Come
use
to us.
the next stratagem. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Anticipation.
Shock and awe. This
Oh,
used
boy.
to be something to do with Land Raider Crusaders. I believe it still has something to do with Land Raider Crusaders. Use this stratagem in the movement phase. Select a Land Raider Crusader, a Black Templar Land Raider Crusader model from your army that made a normal move this phase. Units inside can now disembark.
That's it? There's no other restrictions?
They cannot move again that phase,
Okay.
but they can charge. Which
Nice.
means which means
We
you
got
can move
Jump
your
out
Land
and charge of
Raiders
LRC.
and get out of like the old assault vehicle rule is back, baby.
Yep. And that's
Just a
1
command
CP?
point. One command point.
Wow.
I
That's
take
good. And then if you took the vow, that gives your Land Raiders a 5+
Well,
invulnerable
that's-
5
save.
plus.
Yeah, that is true. 5+ invulnerable save on them. Plus, there's some other cool stratagems in the Space Marine book that help you with the frag assault launchers to like stop people from like overwatching or whatnot, like stuff like that. You can literally have a Land Raider filled with assault terminators, for example, and literally move it up the table. Then get your assault terminators out with a chaplain who can then pray to give them +2 to their charge, and literally just go. Rah!
That's nice. I like it.
I really,
I think
really
it'll.
like
I
it.
think we'll see if that 5+ on a Land Raider is enough to make it worth taking in a game, especially like a competitive tournament game. But especially in friendly games, if you just want to run a Land Raider, this is awesome. This is really kind of what people have been asking for Land Raiders forever. Is, hey, please give us back. I mean, we have this thing called the assault ramp on the front of the Land Raider, and it's basically useless.
Doesn't do anything.
Now we're able to do that again, which is awesome. So you can't move anymore, which is fine once you get out, but you still get a 3-inch disembark.
Well, it's
which
a 10-inch move from the
really
Land
nice.
Raider. 3-inch disembarks. You're moving
Disembark.
13 inches up. So if something's on the line in like a normal deployment zone, like you're gonna get them. Like, or there's a high likelihood you can get them, especially if you got a chaplain praying.
Reroll charge.
And the reroll charge or whatever. It just makes. I have my old classic Land Raider that I've had for 20 years. My Land Raider Crusader with the old metal sprues, like the metal sponsors.
Oh,
I got one too.
And
that was such a pain to put together.
I literally take it every game. At most games I take him because it's just a classic. And now that I can get out, it's like so cool. Like, it's just really neat. I really like that.
That is awesome. I like it. I like it. Nice and fluffy.
Yeah, makes sense.
So,
Exemplars of the Crusade for 1 command point. Use a stratagem in the fight phase. Select a Sword Brethren unit from your army. You have the new primary Sword Brethren unit. It's specifically designed for that unit. Until the end of the phase, every time a model in that unit makes a melee attack, an unmodified hit roll of a 6 scores 1 additional hit.
Nice.
So exploding 6
that is a good damage buff.
Yeah, it's really neat, especially when you have a chaplain nearby giving reroll all hit rolls or something, and you can just fish for 6s, and then just look for 6s to get exploding. Anybody who plays Space Wolves or anything like that knows how like much damage the exploding 6s can do if you like spike it, and all of a sudden you like your damage potential is like.
And you could give that unit Fires of Devotion. Which I believe GW previewed as well, and they changed that one slightly. It was a very subtle change. I don't think a lot of people noticed it, but Fires of Devotion currently is you get +1 attack when you heroically intervene or when you charge. They've added when you are charged, which is great. So if you make that charge, or you're going to get charged by something, you can give them that extra bonus there, and then stack that with this for more attacks, rerolls to hit, more exploding hits. You could have more hits than you had attacks, which could be pretty awesome.
Anything that does more choppy and close combat is a good thing in my books.
Yes.
Yep.
I like it. That's a great stratagem.
So then we have Heretics Pyre. This is a wargear stratagem. So
the names on this, I love. They've done a great job with the names on these things.
It's definitely not the Blood Fists of Blood on the Blood Dreadnought of Blood. So, but it's they're keeping to the theme, which does make sense. So we have the Heretics Pyre. So use a stratagem at the start of your shooting phase. Select a core unit from your army, Black Templar core unit. Until the start of the phase, if you're shooting a flame weapon that targets a unit that has between 6 and 10 models, it's minimum 3 attacks. And if you're shooting a flame weapon and a unit that has 11 or more models, it's full number of attacks. Essentially, it gives your flame weapons the blast special rule, right?
Without giving it blast, which means that if you're on like a Invictor and you're in close combat, you can still flame dudes.
If it's a Gravis unit, aka an aggressor unit, it costs 2 command points. Anything else is 1 command point.
Yeah, they have a lot of flamers, so that makes sense.
Yeah. So it's cool. You know, it's one of those things where every once in a while I'd be like, cool, I've got 4 Pyre Blasters in my big 20-man Crusader squad or whatever, and you'd be like, you know, I'm shooting at a big unit, let's just like use all of them or whatever. But definitely, like, you know, I think it's a situational thing. You might use it, you might not. You know, with Gravis,
if you're gonna run aggressors, if you're gonna run aggressors, I think you know, especially against large mob things, Tyranids, Orcs, whatever, just make sure that you're getting all those shots, which is nice.
It's neat. Then we have 1 CP. You've got the incendiary shells. This is actually low key amazing. Pick a use it in the shooting phase when a Black Templar unit for your army select to shoot with. Until the end of the phase, every time a unit makes an attack with an Astartes shotgun, it does 2 damage.
That's
for 1 command point.
Wow.
Your shotguns can do 2 damage. So I'm looking at this going, wait, I could have a whole unit of like scout bikers, right? With like all with shotguns. Or like a unit of 10 scouts or 5 scouts jumping out a little land speeder storm or something, and just be like, take this, eat lead, you know?
Bob really likes land speeder storms, so
right.
Oh man,
1 command point for 2 damage shotguns, like that is actually really cool. And you can have you can have 10 of them. Imagine, okay, Land Raider Crusader, right? And you go 8 initiates or whatever, and then you can put 7 neophytes in there, give them all shotguns, literally move your Land Raider Crusader up, get out of Land Raider, and like, you know, just like 2 damage shotgun everybody. Oh man, like, imagine other Space Marine players be like, I hope I don't fail my armor saves, because that would be bad news bears.
Yeah. Awesome.
So
that's actually
nice. Good. Yeah, 1 command point for that. I was looking at it.
And you can take, really I believe the upgrades for show that you can take shotguns on Primaris Neophytes now as well.
Yes, you can. Absolutely.
Nice.
They got some cool things. Okay, so Bob, which is your favorite stratagem of the bunch here?
So I do like the exploding 6s on the Sword Brethren. That's really kind of cool. And I won't lie, the 2 damage scouts. I'm known for using scouts, so that might be used.
Bob's sometimes an unconventional Black Templar player.
Hey, I love my Land Speeder Storm. It does work with the scouts inside, which I usually give shotguns to. So
I like thinking outside the box.
How about yourself, Alex?
Well, I love me some Sword Brethren, so I love the exploding 6s on that. And to go along with that, Champion of the Feast is hilariously good. That is awesome. You can, especially because you can stack something like the Sword of Judgment and then one of the Relic Bearer things on top of that and give him that is just hilarious. So I love that.
Yeah.
And you can turn a Sword Brethren into essentially a miniature character who can't be picked out because he's in a squad. So we're going to see that a lot.
I think that's going to be very, very popular. Yeah. Okay, moving on from stratagems. I honestly feel like Black Templars got some good stuff in here. There's some really they got some spice that really adds a lot to the Black Templar stuff. Okay, let's take a look at the Litanies of the Devout, the Warlord Traits. So Litanies of the Devout, priests in the Black Templar detachment can know all of their litanies from the Litanies of the Devout instead of Litanies of Battle. So you can pick and choose per chaplain. If they do, they know the Litany of Hate from the Codex Space Marines, which is the reroll hit rolls, and generate the appropriate number of additional litanies from the table below. You can either roll or pick. So roll every
Who
time.
rolls? Who rolls?
Nobody does. Unless you're like a glutton for punishment, okay?
Right, yeah.
Number 1, Litany of Divine Protection. If it's inspiring, select a friendly core or character unit within 6 inches. Right, so core or character unit. Each time a model in that unit would lose a wound on a 5+, you don't lose a wound.
Nice. So it stayed.
Classic.
I love it.
I love that you can give
I
it to
love it.
dreadnoughts, which is awesome.
Yeah. Could we
Make
do
it-
that before? Is it core right now, or is it core infantry?
I think it was core infantry before.
I thought so,
Yeah, I
too.
think it was just infantry, and now it's like any core character.
Yeah.
So I love that you
Give
can
that dreadnought.
Go killy dreadnought. Sure.
Yep. Here's this ironclad racing up the field.
Yeah. Look at him go.
Look at him go, devout pushing up the field with a 5+ symbol and a 5+ feel no pain.
Yeah. The most annoying
Talk about
distraction card effects in all of the
ever.
land.
In all of the land.
Something
That's awesome.
like this
Love
could
it.
be really cool because you can put it on a character, like charge it into like a cool killy enemy character, and then force the enemy character to fight your character.
Fight you, yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
be like, I'm protected, divinely protected.
Yeah.
This is probably the one. You're gonna see this all the time. It's like I've got 10 assault terminators or whatever. I can just give them a 5+ feel no pain or whatever. It's just big unit. You can just make them, or a big unit of
20-man Crusader
20-man
squad.
Crusader squad, 5+ feel no pain, and a 5+ invul now. They just walk up the field like it's.
Yep.
Yeah,
Good luck shifting that unit.
Yeah, they're really tough. So Psalm of Remorseless Persecution. This litany is inspiring. Select one friendly Black Templar core unit within 6 inches of this priest. Each time a model in that unit makes a melee attack, an unmodified wound roll of a 6 inflicts a mortal wound in addition to any normal damage.
It's amazing. GW previewed this one, and
Up to a
I
max
love
of
it.
6 mortal wounds, of course.
That's fine. I did the math on that, and you need like over 50 attacks in order to trigger 6. You need like something like 36 wound rolls to trigger 6 on there. So rarely are you going to hit that cap unless you just roll really, really hot.
There's also reroll wound rolls from like a Relic Bearer, right? Which they previewed as well. Pick a unit to reroll hit rolls, reroll wound rolls against. Kind of like the Shackle of Oath or whatever that the Ultramarines have, but it's for one of your units. So, or you could have Lightning Claws, which reroll wound rolls. And all of a sudden,
already really good.
You're looking for 6s and being able to go in with Vanguard veterans and just like hit really hard and like reroll hits with a chaplain with exploding 6s, for example, or something, and then reroll wound rolls for lightning claws, and you're fishing for those 6s. That is, and it's more. That's really dangerous. Like that is
really, really good.
That'll do damage.
Yep, that is huge, and I love that. It's the old one was reroll wound rolls of 1 in melee, which was we did a video on it actually on the old Chaplain Vows, and I mathed it out which one is mathematically going to be your best option as far as damage output, and that one was at the bottom of the pile for every single category. So this skyrockets it to probably the top or close to it.
They're all so good, by the way, that I want all of them. So I want like all the chaplains, so I could be like, I want all of these.
Yes.
Right, which is really cool.
That's going to be a take in most games for us as well.
Especially if you're taking something that reroll wounds, right? So what was that, Bob?
I was like, yeah, there's the list. 6 chaplains walking up the board. Right?
each with a different one. There you go. The third one, Plea of Deliverance. So if this litany is inspiring, select one friendly Black Templar core or Black Templar character within 6 inches. If that unit or its models are being affected by any psychic powers, the effects of those psychic powers and its models end. So if they have anything from like a -1 to hit from a psychic power, or you can only shoot something that's within 18 inches of you, psychic power, or something like that, or whatever, the psychic power effect just like stops.
Ends.
Until the start of your next command phase, that unit and the models it contains are not affected by any psychic powers manifested by enemy units.
All right. That's good. It's situational.
But it's really good into like Thousand
Really good.
Suns, or like,
Yep.
be like,
Grey
oh,
Knights.
you're gonna try and smite me a million times and do 30 mortal wounds. Now you do 0.
You do
like
0. Nada.
0 mortal. Now you have to
So-
shoot me and kill me the old-fashioned way, because this big unit of 20
Yeah.
Crusaders is just, you're gonna run up the board and be immune to psychic powers. Like that
Yeah.
can be really good in the right matchups.
Yep. Well, and especially too, this is where know your meta comes in. If your
Yeah.
play group has a bunch of psyker heavy armies like Thousand Sons or Grey Knights, or if your opponents just really love to, or Tyranids, and they really love to play a lot of psychic power stuff. Obviously, would you take this to a tournament? Probably not. Simply because you want to make sure that you're taking an all comers list. But if your meta tilts heavily into psychers, this is a really good litany. So
Yeah, or if you're going to like your local rogue trader tournament, and you know that the person you're going to have to beat runs like Thousand Suns, or you can do
right,
some like
that
meta
top
tweaking.
person.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you don't have to. It can be one of the litanies your mega chaplain knows, right? So your your like monster chaplain could know the reroll hits one, the one that you want, and then this one, and just have it in his back pocket. And then that one game that you need it, you can like use the stratagem to just auto cast it, and then cast the 2 that you're going to use normally anyway. So like, there's some play with just keeping some litanies in your back pocket just in case, which I think is something Black Templars want to do.
Yeah.
Fires of Devotion. If this litany is inspiring, select a friendly Black Templar core or Black Templar character unit within 6 inches. Each time that unit fights, if it made a charge move, it was charged, or heroically intervened, +1 attack to the models in the unit.
Really good.
Yep.
Which does stack with Angels of Death. So you get a lot of attacks.
2 attacks.
This one. Yeah, this
Your
one is
Blood
good.
Angels for a turn.
Yes.
So,
which you can
that's
then
really good.
stack with like, exploding 6s on, on Sword Brethren, and you can like, there's so many things you can do with this. This is one of the ones, like, if you just want a killy litany, this is a great killy litany.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's definitely been buffed from its previous iteration, so much more versatile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100% agree. Fervent Acclamation. If this litany is inspiring, select 1 Templar Vow. That is not in effect. And 1 friendly Black Templar core or Black Templar character unit within 6 inches of the priest. That unit gains the effect of that vow.
That is awesome.
That is amazing.
I love that one too.
Yeah.
I love that one too, because you are, now able to take your durability vow, the Uphold the Honor, and then, you know what? We need that extra punch this turn to kill that unit. Cool, we're going to take, we can take auto wounds, or we can take extra AP depending on
extra
what
attack,
the situation
if it's
calls.
like a combat that's protracted and your chaplain's nearby, be like, I need to get out of this combat. Here's +1 attack, even though you're not getting charged this turn.
+1 attack and +1 AP. So, I mean, you can really pick it. Yeah.
On the first turn, you could do like, oh, I'm going to give it to this unit of bikes that I'm going to make OBSEC because there's a psyker in the enemy army, right? And so they get an extra 3-inch movement to move up the board on that first turn, and now they're OBSEC to go like contest or take an objective away from the enemy. There's like, I feel like this is a very technical litany, and being able to just pick the vow that you want is going to be very important, especially so I think you're going to see this a lot personally.
Yep. I think it's nearly an auto include.
Claire says, damn, these litanies are awesome. Yes, that's right. They are awesome.
Yes, they are.
We're the chaplain chapter, okay?
That's right.
We got the best litanies. I wouldn't expect anything less from the Black Templars. And last but not least, we have Oath of Glory. So if this litany is inspiring, it affects the chaplain, right? If this priest is in engagement range of any enemy units, it fights first. So you give the chaplain fight first. Every time he makes an attack with his Crozier Carnum or Artificer Crozius, which is the name of Grimaldus' Crozius.
Grimaldus.
That or a relic that replaces a Crozius, An unmodified hit roll of a 6 scores 2 additional hits, so he gets like Tesla hits in combat with his Crozius.
Nice.
Oh yeah, baby. So if you want to do a
Nice.
Slaplin, you definitely can make a pretty cool Slaplin.
Yep.
And you also add +1 to the strength of the priest. So he
Okay.
gets +1 strength, exploding 6s in close combat, and fight first.
Yep.
With his
And you can
relic
stack
or
that
whatever.
with the relic,
Reroll hit rolls, like
reroll hit relic.
a
Yeah.
whole bunch of stuff. So makes him a little punchy character. I like it. I like
Yeah.
Primaris biker chaplains are some of my favorite units. So being
Well,
able to
and
make him really
now
kill
you can give him 2 Warlord traits, so he can have Imperium Sword and something else.
or he can go, oh man, that's so cool. That is just so cool.
Or he
Like,
can
so
be,
neat.
since we may be using a relic slot for the chaplain relic, the relic Crozius.
Mm-hmm.
He could, if he's a master of sanctity, which probably should be, if you're making a Slaplin, you're be able to give him Imperium Sword for another extra attack and strength, and Wise Orator to make sure. Well, no, I guess you couldn't, because one of them has
No,
to be a
one
Black
has to be a
Templar.
Black Templar one.
Must be a Black
Yeah,
Templar.
but
Yeah.
we'll get to
But
that.
you could
'cause
still do
there
Wise
is-
Orator
There
and
is
something else.
Paragon of Fury, which we'll get to in a second, and we'll
Okay.
talk about that one.
Nice.
Yeah, so
Lots
now
of
we'll-
opportunities there. So
Exactly. With all these awesome new things, you guys have to win some tournaments. Oh, Black Templars are like meta, right? I feel
Yep.
like in a competitive sense, they will replace White Scars. I'm telling you right now, Black Templars are amazing. They are game-winning amazing.
we've seen lots of great stuff. None of those litanies are bad.
No.
Previously, we had one or two that were just kind of mediocre. None of those are bad. I think Oath of Glory might be the weakest one, simply because it doesn't buff another unit. You're basically tilting into a smash character at that point. But yeah, I don't think I don't. It's going to be hard to take something from the regular tree now. These are so good that having the extra
You'd need like almost 3 chaplains. One to take like regular book ones, like +2 to charge
Canticle
or
Hate,
whatever,
yeah.
and then you know what I mean, and then 2 Black Templar chaplains that are running like protection and prosecution and devotion and delivery and acclamation. And just have like and then have like the 4. Anyway, it's gonna be a lot of chaplains. Okay, let's just say. You're going to need to take a bunch of chaplains. Okay. Warlord traits. So Black Templar character models of your Warlord can use the Warlord trait table below. Couple of things to keep in mind. High Marshal Helbricht has to take Frontline Commander. We'll get to that in a second. And Chaplain Grimaldus has to take Epitome of Piety. And if you give a Warlord trait to your Emperor's Champion, you can't give him number 6. And you have to give him one of these, but you can give him a Warlord trait. Yeah, it's just you can give him a Warlord trait, but you can pick whichever Warlord trait you want. It just can't be number 6, basically.
Which looks like Oathkeeper.
It is, which is 6-inch heroic, which he basically already gets anyway. So
yeah.
So you wanna. So anything else is fine for an Emperor's Champion if you want them to be the Warlord. But they can be your
That's
Warlord.
an improvement.
Yeah.
That's an improvement.
Yeah.
For sure. Because before it was you had to take Oathkeeper, which was okay.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Not great. Not bad.
Epitome of Piety. In your opponent's psychic phase, you can attempt to deny psychic power as if you were a psyker, and you add +1 to deny the witch tests for the Warlord. So
I like it.
that means
Grimaldus is still his 2 casts,
still has
2
2
denies
with
at +1.
+1. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
They just make sure that you note that in his unit, because Grimaldus is now a unit with his servitors.
Oh.
Only Grimaldus counts as the Warlord, so you can't like measure the 24-inch deny from the servitors. They just have to make that clear. Which, by the way, we'll talk about Grimaldus being a unit in a bit, but that's ridiculous. I just want to say that right now. That is some game-breaking stuff you can do with that. Okay.
Nice.
Paragon of Fury. Okay, so this is an interesting one. I want to talk about wording here. Okay, I want you to listen to the wording, and I want you to kind of tell me what that means.
All right.
Paragon of Fury. After this Warlord finishes a charge move, 2 things. Add 1 to the Warlord strength characteristic. After this Warlord finishes a charge move, roll a d6 for each enemy model that is within engagement range, and on a 5+, they suffer a mortal wound.
Wow.
Okay, so if you've got like a biker chaplain, which we were talking about, big base, he can make a charge move. Any model within engagement on a 5+ does a mortal. However, after this model finishes a charge move, add +1 to the Warlord Strength characteristic. So now he's Strength 5. Then he charges again, he becomes Strength 6. Then he charges again, he becomes Strength 7. Then he charges again, he becomes Strength 8.
Wait a minute. Read that one more time. You said pay attention, and I listened. But now I want to hear it again because that's interesting.
It's just after this model finishes a charge move, first thing, add +1 to the Warlord Strength characteristic. Full stop.
No, until the end of the turn, until the end of the phase.
Nope.
Wow. Do you think that'll get fact?
I expect so, but the way this is written,
the way that's written,
every time he makes a charge move, he gets stronger and stronger
and stronger
and stronger.
That's nuts.
Damn.
Oh man,
Hilarious,
I like that.
Right? Yeah.
That is hilarious. So yeah, we're probably gonna get fact, but until it does, enjoy your infinitely strength.
Okay, so
could be strength 10 by the end of the game.
What's the maximum? The maximum he
10.
gets is a charge every turn, right? So the maximum he could do is +5 strength, so he'd be Strength 9, right? Okay, fair enough.
Or strength 9, yeah.
With so okay, whoop-de-doo. Like he's gonna go around beating stuff. But if you want to do the slapline, okay, fair enough. I do like the whole, if he's on a bike or whatever, you can like give him the mortal wounds on a 5+ to model, so you can like do Tokyo Drift style and like do mortal wounds or whatever. So that's pretty cool.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
That's a really good warlord trait.
It's fun.
I forget. Right? I think that was one listed in our current one, but it wasn't very good. So I'm glad that it got changed. That's really good.
Yeah, we
that's
also have
great
people,
for a combat character.
The chat's already saying it's a typo 100%. Hey, it's Games Workshop. We don't know. On that note, thank you very much, Games Workshop, for sending me a free copy and allowing me to review this. And I have to legally say that. However, that's ridiculous, okay? I'm just saying, like, when you read the nuances of what that physically means, it means that chaplain is like, anything could be a lightning claw commander. Imagine charge, lightning claws of strength 5 now. Okay, then charge again, lightning claws of strength 6 now. Charge again, lightning claws of strength 7. So
that's really good. Thinking about it, I mean, like it's only going to take you so far. Realistically, how many charges are you going to get in a game?
Maybe 3.
Probably 3.
I'd say 3 is about average.
So I mean, it could be intended. It's just it's next to impossible to say because it's not like it's missing a word. It's missing like a whole half a sentence.
Yeah.
For it to not. Yeah. So I guess we'll see. But that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
Number 3, Master of Arms. At the start of the fight phase, if this warlord is within engagement range, it can fight first. Okay, add +1 to your warlord's attacks. That's it.
Okay.
So +1 attack, and you fight first if you're in combat.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it's pretty standard. It's good as a secondary one, like if you're taking like, like Imperium Sword. And then you're taking this one. It's like if you're in combat, you fight first, which helps you in protracted combats.
Combat characters are back on the menu, boys.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of neat. It's very simple. You don't have to. It's like +1 attack, and you fight first in combat.
You fight first.
That's
which is great.
Yeah,
fight first is really important now. There is a ton of fight last drifting around these days. So being able to just fight normal, or if you're not affected by that, be able to fight at the same time as your charging units or your enemy's charging units. Really good.
Especially if you're keeping your characters alive or whatever, it can make a big difference. Number 4, Inspirational Fighter, which becomes an aura. So while a friendly Black Templar core unit is within 6 inches of this warlord, each time a model in that unit makes a melee attack on an unmodified wound roll of a 6, improve the AP of that attack by 1, and it is cumulative with all the other bonuses that we talked about. So it's a 6-inch aura of 6s to wound or AP extra.
Combos well with the Litany.
Combos well with the Litany. Combos well with the Stratagem that we talked about, which is an extra AP on 6s anyway. So you could literally have like +3
AP4
AP,
chainswords.
you know, AP4 chainswords. Like if you really wanted to
Yeah.
go in and do some damage. Is it one of the ones you'll see often? Probably not. You're probably going to see, you know, like the +1 attack or the +1 strength and mortal wounds, you know, that sort of thing. Then we go to Frontline Commander. Add +1 to advance and charge rolls made for this Warlord. So +1 to advance and charge.
Just the Warlord.
And every time a Black Templar core unit declares a charge against an enemy unit that's within engagement range of the Warlord, you get +1 to your charge roll. So if you send the Warlord in first and they make it into combat, then everybody around them is going to get inspired to try and make it into combat as well.
So that's definitely a little bit of a nerf.
It
currently
is.
is.
It is, yeah. It's not the same.
It's more fluffy because, you know, we charge in. Helbrecht has to take that one.
Helbrecht has to take that one. Of course, he doesn't care in terms of like his new stats because he is nuts in combat. But I mean, like, and we'll talk about that with his crazy sweep attacks and stuff now.
He has a huge ass base.
And his base is massive.
He has a huge ass base. So,
what's the size of his base now?
It looks
50?
like it's a.
I think it's.
It looks like it's at least 50.
Yeah, I think it's.
I heard somebody say 60.
Could have been a dreadnought base. You know, with these new models, but like the fact that he has like, he's like an impressive character on the table. Let's just say that much.
Yep. As he should be.
Correct.
So.
Oathkeeper. If this warlord is eligible to perform heroic interventions, they can do it 6 inches. Yeah, they can move 6-inch heroic, basically. It's a 6-inch heroic. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Any comments on your warlord traits?
So the first 3 are really good. Epitome of Piety is great, especially if you're in a psycho-heavy meta. Put it on Grimaldus. You get 2 denies at +1, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
The other 2 are very combat-oriented, which is great. I like those. Frontline Commander is nerfed, but at least it's still usable. I guess it depends if you have a really durable Warlord to send in first. You know, and then it benefits not just somebody within an aura of him; it benefits anybody who charges that unit. So, you know, it's
especially
not bad, but
especially if you don't want to have to spend a chaplain to get like Space Marine books like buffs to get the +2 to charge, and you got the built-in reroll charge.
You can
just
still at least get
correct.
Get
you
him
just have to get them in first, right? And that's the key. Is if he doesn't get in, then the bonus.
And he gets
really
+1 himself.
He does.
He gets +1 himself. So you're still getting that +1, which is helpful. And you know, with especially with some of those other warlord traits, having you know, more fighty options, more combat oriented warlord trait options, is good. So you can have, you know, a dude who's going to be dangerous in close combat and still get in there and, you know, give a bonus to charge. So it's not awful. It's not as good as just a flat +1 to charge for everybody around me. But the +1, losing the +1 to advance for everybody, and we can't advance and charge anymore anyway. So
so
not a big deal.
These are very solid in comparison to what we currently have. For only a couple of them we were realistically ever taking. Now any of these are
I like that you can just pick your warlord to take one of these in addition to like the Space Marine ones, because the Space Marine ones are really good, and then you can go, you know what, I want that extra attack, and then you just give him an extra attack and fight first, or give him the ability to, you know, get the +1 strength, and then the mortals when you charge. I feel like those are my favorites personally. Like you're gonna pick one of those 2 like all of the time. So let's move on to some relics. Kind of see, you know, some of these are very similar to the Space Marine ones. We're not going to kind of touch too much base on like Artificer Armor, Mastercrafted Weapon, Digital weapons,
those are the same that are in every supplement.
Those 4 are basically the exact same. So we're not going to talk about those. Okay.
So much so that they are the exact same, and in Battlescribe we've just put them in a list because they're all exactly the same.
Something that's important to remember though is if your army is led by Black Templars Warlord, you can take these relics. So you have to have a Black Templar Warlord to take these relics. You can't have like an Ultra Ring Warlord and then pick these relics. Like this, you have to have a Black Templar Warlord. So number 1. Can we give the Emperor's Champion 2 Warlord traits? Yes. Yes, you can.
Really?
Yeah. Because if he's
It's
your
not
Warlord,
restricted for.
he's not a named character. Is he? He's not a named character, I don't think. Unless he's unique.
I don't know.
Let me just check real quick.
Well, what's the
it's
wording on that
one-
strat though?
It's one. Yeah, you can't do it on a named character. Never mind. You can
Okay.
only give him one. Okay.
Okay.
So
But you get to choose,
you
which
get
is
to
a
pick
huge
it.
improvement.
That's right.
Yeah.
The Crusader's Helm. Add 3 inches to the range of the bearer's aura abilities to a max of 9. And in your command phase, select a Black Templar core unit within 9. And the Assault Doctrine is considered active for that unit when they attack in close combat.
So the same.
The same as before.
Yep.
Super useful. I like it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Plus 3 inches to auras.
Is really
Still
good for an
cash money.
apothecary. Amazing.
Really good for an apothecary. Yep.
Yeah.
And the
chaplains
nice
or
thing is,
whatever.
if you need to save 5 points, you can take a firstborn apothecary and give him this because he can't take the Vox. So good. And honestly, I'd probably take this over the Vox anyway, just because you get if you're not taking the accept any challenge vow, you can still put a unit, get an extra +1 AP.
100%.
So,
okay,
good relic.
then we have the Witch Seeker Bolts. So when you give them, now remember, this is one of the ones you can give to a sergeant. Okay, so you can actually build this into your list with a command point. When you give a model this relic, select a bolt weapon, any bolt weapon. See Codex Space Marines. That model is equipped with. Each time the bearer shoots with that weapon, you can choose for it to fire a Witch Seeker Bolt. If you do so, you can only make 1 attack with that weapon, right? But when you do, you can ignore lookouts or roll if you target an enemy Psyker unit, an enemy character Psyker unit. So you basically becomes a sniper against Psykers only. Each time an attack is made with a Witch Seeker Bolt against the target, a successful hit roll will do D3 mortal wounds in addition to any normal damage. This is different. Before it was on a hit roll, you just did 3 mortal wounds, I think. Now it's...
No, I think it was D3.
Was it D3?
I think it was always D3.
Now it's D3 in addition. So if you give it to like a lieutenant that has like a mastercrafted bolter or something, you know, that's 2 damage, you can do like 1 shot with a 2 damage bolter plus D3. Like there's ways that you can kind of like pop out some Psykers.
If you're going to put this on a character, I like this on the Phobos captain because his gun is only 1 shot anyway.
Yeah.
So you're not losing anything, and it does like 3 damage. So if you manage to get the round through, it's only a 4 strength 4. But if you do manage to get that wound through, they're like AP -3 with 3 damage, and they're taking D3 mortal wounds, and he hits on a 2-up. So I really like this for a Phobos captain.
Yeah, it's just like the anti-Psyker are like it's so cool. And the fact that the D3 mortals is good against anything, like if you're shooting against like a unit of Grey Knights or, you know, anything like that, it will do damage to a Psyker.
Or put it on an intercessor sergeant and shoot twice.
There you go. Do it twice because of the strat. 100%.
The strat, yeah.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Yeah.
You know, and those are the little sneaky things that you only learn by playing Black Templars forever.
Right, right.
Which is great. The Aurelian Shroud, once per battle, at the start of either player's command phase.
Oh.
The bearer can unveil the shroud. If it does, until the start of your next command phase, the bearer has the following aura ability. Friendly core infantry units within 3 inches have a 4+ invulnerable save.
So slightly changed.
Yeah. Can't do it on Dreadnoughts anymore, but I mean, we can give them a 5-up with the Vow.
Yeah.
I
think that its value has gone down just because the Vow just gives you like a 5-up across the board. However, if you wanted to pick a different Vow, for example, and you're building a very infantry-heavy list, right? And you had the Shroud on someone, and you just keep them all within 3, you could have like, your opponent rolled to go first, now you can just keep them alive for a turn or something and give everybody like a 4-up invulnerable save.
Well, and previously it was at the start of the battle round. I like that it's changed to the start of either player's command phase, because at the start of the battle round, you might be like, well, I think I'm going to get shot next turn, and you don't know.
Yeah.
So whereas, you know, if they start their command phase, you can be like, oh, I'm definitely getting shot. This thing is getting shot. Let's put it, you know, because based on what you did in your turn, maybe you didn't know if you were going to get shot at, and maybe that unit, it gets wasted. So
Yeah.
now you get a little more flexibility with it. But again, I think I agree with you. I think the value has gone down a little bit
Yeah.
because of the vow, but um, still usable for sure. Especially like on a 20-man Crusader squad, if you didn't take the
Or
vow,
multiple units. It's all
it's an aura.
units within 3 inches, right? It's an aura. So if you got 2 or 3 big blobs of infantry moving up, you can, which is really cool, right? Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Ancient Breviary. So this is the same as it was before. Chaplain only.
Excellent.
Every time a roll is made to determine if a litany is recited, you roll an additional dice, discard the lowest result, which makes your litanies almost impossible to fail, especially on a Master Chaplain. You just like
88% chance to succeed.
Yeah. 2+
Love it.
rolling 2 dice is incredible with a Master. Like, it's just so good. Considering you can make them do one automatically and then roll an additional one. So they've got like one Master Chaplain from the Black Templars book can do 3 litanies in a turn. And knows 3 litanies in a turn, just do all of them that they know is just for a couple of command points. Really cool. And make sure that they're all very unlikely to fail.
Yep.
Which is
great
awesome.
relic. Great relic. We've recommended this since we got it.
Yeah, so good.
Glad it is unchanged.
Then we've got the Skull of the Caco Dominus, which is an aura. It is changed a little bit. The aura has gone down. So now it's a psychic unit within 12 inches of this model. Suffers -1 of their psychic tests instead of 18, I believe is what it was. While an enemy psyker is within 12, each time a psychic test is taken for that unit, you perils on any double instead of just double 1s or double 6s. And once per battle, at the start of your opponent's psychic phase, you can raise the Skull of Cacodomus. And if you do that, the aura is increased to 18 inches.
Okay.
Oh, wait. No. The bearer has the following ability. While the enemy psychic unit is within 18 of this model, subtract 1 from psychic tests, and it is cumulative with the other abilities from this relic. So they get an 18-inch -1, but if the psyker is within 12, it's -2 and perils on doubles.
Oh. -2.
Oh.
So I feel like this is the same thing with the vow. Not the vow, the litany. That's the anti-psyker litany. First of all, this relic is way better than it previously was. It was garbage before. So this is actually really good. But again, it's only for psychers. So you got to kind of think about your opponents and who your meta is. If you, again, like, I know my play group has several people who love psychers. One of my friends plays Tyranids and Grey Knights, and another one of my friends plays Death Guard. So he loves his psychic powers. So this would probably be a decent take for me because suffering those extra bonuses, and it's an aura, it's all game, whereas before the skull was just a single one use thing, and I think they suffered a couple mortal wounds or something, and it wasn't very good. But this is actually a really solid take if you're in a very psyker heavy meta.
And one of the great things about this is you don't have to select it in the army list building stage, because it is one of those items that you can put on the sergeant with the stratagem right away at the beginning of the game.
Well, the stratagem one is built in. The sergeant one is built in into your list. Anything that's before the battle.
Okay.
Yeah. So any strats or anything like that has to be built into your list, basically.
Yeah, it's not a pre-game strat; it's a list building.
Yeah.
Even still, I mean, like I said, if you're in a psyker heavy meta,
or if you're playing Crusade, and you know who you're playing against, like this is perfect for like that sort of. You just it's just very like lore wise, it's good, and it'll frustrate your friends to no end. Especially if they have lots of psychers.
Yeah.
I like that it stacks though. That -2 within 12 though for once per battle. That's pretty cool, actually.
That is pretty cool.
So the Sword of Judgment. Okay, now we get to some of the weapons. A model with a power sword, master crafted power sword or relic blade, and it replaces it and gives them a melee weapon that is +3 strength, -3 AP, 3 damage.
So they buffed it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's a beat stick sword.
Yeah.
It's just
Because originally, when it first came out, it gave +1 strength, which was great at the time because power swords didn't give +1 strength then. So that was
Yep.
really good. But yeah, +3 strength is freaking amazing.
strength 7.
Especially with all the other plus strength things that we can get. Imperium Sword, we had a Warlord trait. There's several good
I'm a fan of giving
things.
this to like a sergeant, like a sword brethren sergeant in like a Primaris squad
Yes.
with like a sword,
Yes.
and give him like literally you give him a thunderhammer in the unit, and literally
Yeah,
goes
because
around
the,
with like a good
the strat
thunderhammer.
gives him +1 strength.
Yeah, so then he becomes a strength
Hitting on
8.
twos.
Yeah, he just goes in, he's just like cutting stuff down that's 3 damage at AP 3, AP 4 in Assault Doctrine, potentially AP 5. Anyway. So there's some cool stuff in
Great.
there.
Great
Super
relic.
Sergeant.
Super sorry. He's just going around beating stuff up, and then if he dies, you just resurrect him. Say great.
Yeah.
Adamantine mantle, artificer armor, mastercraft weapon, digital weapons. Look at the Space Marine book; they're the same as that one.
They're all the same.
Then we have the Aquila Immortalis. Okay, so this is another relic. Add +1 to the bearer's toughness and attacks.
Wow. That's really good.
You want a toughness 7 chaplain on a bike? Excellent.
All right.
Or toughness 6 chaplain on a bike or whatever.
Yeah.
With an extra attack? Sure. Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
That's
pretty
really
standard.
good.
I like that one.
Yeah. I think I said this when the Warlord traits, but that's definitely, we've got combat characters are back on the menu for us, which is kind of something especially Bob and I have recommended away from because we had most of our like good things were like buffing other units.
And they were
and
like
it was
4
like, don't
wounded
worry about
characters, like the Emperor's Champion was like
right,
4
yeah.
wounds.
Don't
like, he
worry
just
about
died so fast.
don't worry about buffing, the character themselves. You want them buffing the other units. But now I think durability buffs, and things like that will allow us to make combat characters again, which is something I've been kind of missing a little bit. So that's exciting.
So you cannot give the Emperor's Champion any relics, correct?
Yeah.
Because he's equipped with relics. That's his
multiple relics.
Multiple relics. So then we have Perdition's Edge. So this is another weapon. It's a model with a power axe, mastercrafted power axe only. It replaces the weapon, and it is a +3 strength, -2 AP, 2 damage power axe with an ability. Every time an attack is made with this weapon, an unmodified wound roll of a 6 inflicts 2 mortal wounds instead of the normal damage, essentially.
Wow. That's great.
Yup.
Triptych Whip.
Well, precision blows. Like, close to
Yeah,
precision
precision
blows. Yeah. So, except it triggers on the wound roll instead of the hit roll. Right? Yeah. So that's a nice way to get some mortal wounds through. Plus, it's really good if you have like a very heavy like Death Guard meta or Dreadnought meta where they have a lot of -1 damage because the mortal wounds translate into they don't suffer from the -1, so they're just doing 2 mortal wounds for every 60 wounds. So the damage is more than likely going through.
They just gave us those 2 sweet new models that have power axes.
Oh, and we'll get to that in a second. That's a Marshall and Castellan options for war gear. That's very specific to Black Templars, and I absolutely love that they gave us that little character thing.
Yeah.
Okay, then we have the Breath of the Throne.
Oh man, the names they've done a great job.
Model with a combi flamer or an auto flamer only. So an auto flamer, for anybody who doesn't know, is an auto bolt rifle with a flamer on it.
The flamer.
It's literally like the new combi weapon, but it's an auto bolt rifle combi weapon.
Primaris combi weapon.
Correct. Yeah. This relic replaces the flamer profile or the flamer part of the profile. So it's a 12-inch assault D3 +3. So it's minimum 4, max 6, strength 5 -1, 2 damage.
Nice. All right. I like it.
It's a cool little super flamer. Sure.
Yeah.
And last but not least, my favorite relic of all of the relics. Are you ready for this? Are you ready for this? Okay. Hold on to your horses, internet. Check this out. Tannhauser's bones, okay? Because, of course, a good relic has to do with just bones.
It's
Okay?
bones, yeah.
Each time an attack is allocated to the bearer, the damage characteristic of that attack is changed to 1.
That's stupid. Oh my god. That's so good. Yeah. Combat characters are
Iron
definitely
Hands?
back on the table.
Oh my
Iron Hands eat your heart out.
I read this, I was like,
It's ridiculous.
What? That, because Sisters of Battle have it on a crazy canonist, and she's like impossible to kill. She's like 1 damage, 1 damage, you know what I mean? And you could literally have, I was just thinking, super bike chaplain with this on there. Super hard to kill.
Yeah.
He goes in and goes, by the way, your big killy character has to attack me now, right?
For 1 damage.
Then does 1 damage every time.
Yeah.
And I've got an apothecary nearby that can then heal me, or whatever it is. Like, that relic is absolute madness, is what it is.
Plus, it has an amazing name.
Yes.
Tannhauser's bones.
Tannhauser's bones. Let's read the description, because this is worthy of a description read. Marshal Tannhauser was martyred at the hands of the Black Legion at the decisive battle of Rutger's Reach Crusade. His bones, encased in smaller reliquaries, were distributed amongst the warriors of that crusade during the victory sermon. Each is a potent reminder of duty and the expectations placed upon every Black Templar.
I love it. I love it. That's
amazing.
great fluff. That's great
that relic
fluff.
is fantastic. You're going to see that relic
Fantastic.
all the time. That relic is so silly.
We're going to run out of CP just buying relics.
Just be like, I can imagine like them being like, I want this relic. I want that relic too. And
we are flush for choices on relics now.
And it's not the last of the relics.
Oh.
Now we go on to the Relic Bearers. Now.
Oh.
Yeah. So those are relics you give to characters, some to sergeants. These are like, instead of buying like Master Chaplains, Master Apothecaries, or whatever, this is our version of like upgrading your squad to like Trueborn, basically.
Oh, right.
This is like your like
squad
our version
upgrades.
of Trueborn or Blood Brides. So these are squad upgrades. And you basically make a model in the squad be a Relic Bearer. And then they'll get some cool stuff. So they range in cost. They did kind of show off a few of them. They showed off the Holy Orb of Antioch. They showed off Sigismund's seal, right? And I believe they showed off something else.
The icon.
The icon of Hyman. Yeah. Which is probably one of my favorites.
Really good.
Really, really good.
Really good.
So they range in cost. The power of the level goes up based on what you buy. And you have to have a Black Templar chaplain in your army to include any.
Just one?
If your army includes any Black Templar chaplains, you can use the upgrades listed below.
Nice.
Do
these cost points?
They cost points. They range from 10 points for the cheapest to 20 points for the most expensive.
It's not bad.
It's not bad at all.
No.
Right?
It's very affordable.
Very, very. Okay. So... And it's for each Black Templar infantry or biker unit that is not a character. So you cannot give these upgrades to characters. It's only to like models in units.
Yeah.
Should have got more water. And you have to allocate it to a specific model in the unit. So like model has to be different. They have to have like a little relic or something that kind of shows off what they have. You have to make it clear to your opponent is what they're trying to say.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're playing Crusade, you can't start your Crusade with any of these. These are things you have to sort of like add on as you go with your Crusade roster.
You must earn them.
You must earn them, exactly. So, Light of the Emperor's Grace. This is a 10-point upgrade for a unit. Add 1 to the leadership characteristic of models in this unit. Okay. This model has the following ability. It is a 12-inch aura. While an enemy psyker is within 12, subtract 1 from psychic tests.
Okay.
Which you could always...
It's situational, but good.
Which you could, you could you could combine with the Skull of Cacodomus or whatever. Like there's you could stack it with stuff, and then you
Which
could
can't you give the skull to a sergeant model? Isn't that
yes,
one of
you
the ones you
can.
can give to? So
Yeah.
he could be having -3.
Well, you can't give it to a unit that has another relic, I believe, because it is like a relic.
Okay.
Right, so you'd have to give it to second model in the unit, but the combination, the duo, could go in and basically have like a little aura bubble.
Nice.
Sigismund's Seal. So this one's the most expensive at 20 points. And this is probably one of the more powerful ones. At the start of the first battle round, select one enemy unit that's on the battlefield. Until the end of the battle, each time a melee attack is made by this model's unit against that enemy unit, you reroll hits and wounds against it.
Yeah, that's the one they previewed. Yeah. That's really good.
Is any melee attack. This is the one. This is really, really good against like somebody who's bringing like a big, tough, killy unit, and you go, my Terminators with Thunderhammers are gonna pick your big unit of Terminators, and I'm gonna get reroll hits and wounds against you.
Yeah.
Like, it's really strong. Like that one's
really good.
Really good.
Yeah.
Or you put it or you put it on your Sword Brethren, right? And then you go, my Sword Brethren now can explode hits on 6s, and against that unit I'm getting reroll hits and reroll wounds. So then if I give them the like mortal wounds on 6s to wound, and I get the strat for exploding 6s, like I'm gonna go into your thing that's really tough and killy, and I have a unit that's dedicated to go in and do a lot of damage to it.
And every army is going to have something that's really tough or really killy that you need to remove. So
you're looking at
that's
Dark
really
Eldar,
powerful.
you look at Talos or Kronos, you could pick like a big Talos or Kronos unit. You could pick, in Death Guard, you could pick like a Death Shroud unit, or even like you could pick like Mortarion or like one of the big killy like monsters and be like, again, reroll hits and wounds against that. Because it's any unit that's on the battlefield, So, yeah. The Holy Orb. Thou shalt count to 3.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
5 is right out.
That's a Black Templar joke that we do all the time, thanks to Monty Python. Thank you, Monty Python. And this is probably in there just because of Monty Python. And
that's it was in the 4th edition book, too. You remember that?
Oh, yes.
Yep. That was back when we had blast templates. It was a blast template.
It was a super blast template. It was like a crazy blast template, really.
Yep.
So once per battle in your shooting phase, select an enemy unit within 6 inches of visible. So it's not a weapon type. You don't have to you can advance and shoot it. You can advance and do it. Like it's not like you can just do it anytime.
You can do it in engagement range.
You can do it in engagement range. It's
throw it
just
at your feet.
Shooting phase. Correct.
In the shooting phase.
Roll a d6. On a 2+, that unit suffers d3 mortal wounds. That's the first point. Until the end of the turn, that unit is not eligible to fight until all eligible units from your army have done so. That doesn't require you to hit. There's no roll on that. Yeah. It's just you use it. The unit you used it against fights lost.
Can't fight.
That is so good to have as a mechanic in the current meta or the current edition of the game.
There's a interesting bit of wording in there, the way they worded that, which I think somebody pointed out on our Discord, is it's until all of your units have fought, eligible units.
Mm-hmm.
So
which is the standard wording of fight lost now, which means you can't interrupt.
Does it say your? Does it say your units though?
Yeah, a lot of them. Yeah.
Because the way I read that is if you are affected by fights last, and then you use this to make them fights last, they still fight after your dudes.
Right. Yeah. So which makes sense. Fight last, fight first, and fight normal. The interactions, they've made that very clear in the FAQ. Anything that's like a fight lost mechanic works very, very similarly. What I love about this is that it allows you as a close combat army to charge on multiple fronts on a very key turn, without the worry of being interrupted. Basically, with the super chaplain of you can fight me and I take 1 damage, you could probably do it in 3 different locations in a turn, because you could have one side of the table or one area where you charge in. You select a charger to fight. Then you can have another unit that you toss the grenade so they can't be interrupted, and then they will get to fight as well. And then you have a third area where you might charge a killy character with multiple units, and then
Yeah.
force that character to fight your character, right?
Yeah.
So then they don't die. So you can essentially have like you can attack 3 different areas of the table at once without your opponent having any agency to do damage to you before you get to fight, right?
Yeah.
And I think that alone is a very important sort of mechanic, that the Holy Orb just gives you the ability to do that, which I think is very, very strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many points is this?
The Holy Orb of Antioch is 15 points. I believe
worth
you're
it.
going to see that in every list.
Yeah.
Now, it is a single model in a unit has it. So one model in one unit is going to have it. So
Make sure that guy's at the front.
yeah, picking which model has it is going to be important, right? So like you can put it on like a biker unit to make it super fast, for example, or you can like just pick a unit a model that you're not going to forget.
Yeah.
Okay, then we have the Crux Obsidian. This one is 15 points as well. Every time an attack is allocated to this model, you subtract 1 from the damage characteristic of the attack.
Wow. Okay.
That's pretty good too.
Yeah, -1 damage. Yeah, it's pretty neat. It's like you want a super like tough biker outrider, or like a Terminator captain, or a model in you make -1 damage.
Now, can these be given to any infantry unit, or does it have to be core?
Each Black Templar infantry or Black Templar biker unit does not have to be core.
So you could give that to a centurion.
You can
-1
definitely
damage.
give it to a centurion. 100%.
That 5-up invul and -1 damage. Hello, I'm a dreadnought.
And then go ahead and heal him up again with the apothecary.
And
next
heal
turn.
him up again.
Or
I
bring
like
it
it.
back to life or whatever. 100%.
I like it.
Yeah.
That's good.
Then we have the Fist of Balthus. Yeah. A model with a Power Fist only, and it replaces a Power Fist. And it is a ×2 strength, -3 AP, 3 damage Power Fist with no negative to hit.
Wow. That's awesome.
decent.
And it's really cool is you can, because for example, in a Crusader squad or a Primaris Crusader squad, you can take a model with a Power Fist. Or you can take models with a Power Fist. You can literally upgrade the Sergeant to have the Sword of Judgment, and then you can have the Power Fist to be the Fist of Balthus. So you can have 2 3 damage Thunderhammer Power Fist attacks.
Nice.
Inside of a single Crusader squad.
How many points is that?
The Fist of Balthus is 10 points.
Okay. So standard Power Fist is what, 8, I think, normally? So
yeah.
18 points?
18 points for it, sure. Whatever a new Power Fist, let's see, a Power Fist is. Now, in a Crusader squad, is 10 points. And in a Primaris Power Squad, it is 10 points. So, 20 points in total.
20 points.
Yeah.
That's not bad, though. I mean, especially given that there's no negative to hit, which is huge. It's an extra damage. Power Fists are AP3, are they? Or are they AP2? I can't remember.
AP3.
Power Fists are AP3.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
it's Thunderhammer
extra damage
AP2.
and no
negative modified hit, though, is really
modified.
good. It's just hit on your weapon skill. It's really neat.
It's just a flat damage upgrade.
Correct.
So
then we have the Beast Pyre. This is 10 points. So it's a Flamer or Pyre Blaster, and it's a 15-inch Assault D6 Flamer, basically, so it auto hits. Strength 6, AP2, 1 damage. That's 10 points as well.
Not bad.
I'm pretty sure we're not going to see that one very often. I could,
not
my
compared to the others.
telling me, we want fists that like punch people more than flamers.
Yeah.
The Icon of Heinemann, which we definitely saw, this one is incredible. Every time an attack with an AP characteristic of 1 or 2 is allocated to the model, you count it as having AP 0.
Also really good. Also really good on a Centurion.
Well, yes, but, my favorite is Sergeant with +1 wounds, +1 attack, +1 wounds, attacks, and weapon skill on like a Centurion, for example, or on a Terminator with a Thunderhammer Storm Shield or a Sword Brother, and you give him this, which then goes ignore AP 1 and 2, and that one model that's walking up the table with a Storm Shield can literally soak up all of the shots that unit is going to take for the shooting phase. And then when he dies, you just resurrect him with the Apothecary.
Yep.
So good.
Yeah.
So good. What did you miss, The Fuel? You have missed everything if you just tuned into the video now. Go back and watch it again. You want to. And last but not least, the bones. And so the Icon of Heinemann is 15 points.
Okay.
So pretty good. And
Worth
then the Bones of Mordred.
Nice.
Yeah.
More bones.
That's
More
right.
bone.
The bones.
We're Black Templars. We gotta
The
have bones.
bones of Mordred. There's nothing like
Consult the bones. They tell me nothing.
Each time this model makes a melee attack, an unmodified wound roll of a 6 inflicts 1 mortal wound in addition to any normal damage.
So put that on the super sergeant.
Yeah, or put it on the super
With a
sergeant
sword of judgment.
With light, I would give it. To be honest, I'd give it on lightning claws.
Lightning claw.
Right? Because
Yeah.
reroll wound rolls means you
That's
just
right.
like you can
Yeah.
reroll wounds, and if he has 5 or 6 attacks with a bunch of lightning claws, imagine like a Terminator sergeant that has 3 base attacks, right? 1 for each lightning claw, plus 1 for the strat. That's 6 attacks, plus 1 for charging, 7 attacks. And then you hit on 3s, or hit on 2s, sorry, now that he's got plus 1 weapon skill. And then you reroll wound rolls, and then he's 6 is just immortal. Like, he's just a little blender. He just goes and just like...
Yep.
Well,
and
it's good.
We were previewed from GW that Sword Brethrens can take a dual Lightning Claw guy.
Mm-hmm. Well, 2 if it's a
Hello.
squad of 10. Just saying.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. Delicious.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that, internets. Okay, cool. Which is your favorite?
That's hard to say, man. There are a lot of good ones. The Bones of Mordred is great. The defensive ones are great.
And the Holy Orb is fantastic.
The Holy Orb is fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, they buffed it from its Vigilus Virgin, which was terrible because it had to go on a character and it was a one-use thing. This is still a one-use thing, that's fine. But now you just pay a few points for it. What, 15 points, I think?
And a power level. So, yeah.
Yeah. But you know, the fact that it's still does the mortal wounds, but now it has a powerful mechanic that doesn't rely on hitting the enemy. It's not a weapon, so you can throw it in melee if you need to.
Yep.
There's a lot of applications for it. So I like most of them. There are a lot of good ones. It's gonna be. We're gonna be so strapped for points. We're like, but I gotta fit this relic in. How do I fit this relic in?
That's exactly how we're gonna feel. You know, as we're building army lists with them. Be like,
I want to take them all.
How many command points do you start with? 2.
2.
Where do you spend all the command points? Relics.
Relics.
Amazing. Okay, chapter approved rules. Here are the secondary choices that we get with the Black Templars in match play. Okay. Some of these are good, some of these are okay. You know, remember, of course, as a Space Marine chapter, if you're running pure Space Marines, you can also pick a Space Marine one, unless the event you're going to disallows that, which doesn't happen very often. But, you know, so you get to pick rulebook ones, Space Marine ones, and or these, if you're a full Black Templar army. So, if every model in your army is a Black Templar one, then you can use these in addition to any other ones. Okay, purge the enemy. So, bathe your blade in the blood of your foe.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it.
At the start of your command phase, you select 1 Black Templar character model from your army. At the start of your first command phase, my apologies, you select a Black Templar character model to issue a challenge. Your opponent must select a character model to accept the challenge. So your opponent gets to pick the character that will accept this challenge. You get to pick a character to issue a challenge. At the end of the game, you get 5 points for each one of these that is true. The model that accepted the challenge died. You get 5 points. So the enemy character was killed. The model that accepted the challenge was destroyed as a result of a melee attack. You get another 5 points. So that's 10 points if it died and it died in close combat. The model that accepted the challenge was destroyed as a result of a melee attack made by the model that issued the challenge. 5 points. So 15 points if you can get your super killy chaplain to zoom all the way to attack whatever it is your opponent decided to pick at some point in the game and beat them up in close combat. Now, of course, in competitive play, giving agency to your opponent is always a risky prospect because you can hide it or make it really hard for you to get to. However, very fluffy secondary choice, if you ask me.
Yep.
Yes.
You know, I could see value if there's nothing else to pick and you're like, you know what? You've got 2 characters. One of your 2 characters has to accept this challenge. I'm going to issue a challenge. And then,
especially if they're taking 2 characters that are designed to just buff other units in their army.
Yeah.
They're going to have to put those characters near those units, and those units may or may not be, something that needs to be up the field or whatnot. So,
and you could have a marshal with like a jump pack or something running around with like a Thunderhammer Storm Shield or whatever, and just like literally be like, my dude that can fly over and get to you is going to like issue a challenge,
Murder,
and he's just gonna go in and like try and murder you, right? Battlefield supremacy. Allow not the worship of unclean idols. I love the names of these. They're fantastic.
Yeah.
So this is a progressive objective. Score 4 victory points at the end of the battle round. So it's definitely a lot more powerful if you're going second. If you control 1 or more objectives that were controlled by your opponent at the start of the battle round, and a Black Templar chaplain is in range of that objective marker. So if you take away an objective from your opponent and a chaplain just happens to be nearby, you get 4 points.
Interesting.
The fact that it's end of battle round makes it a lot harder to do than you might think. Right? Like, you're probably better off taking something like engagement fronts or behind enemy lines or whatever other ones you want for battlefield supremacy, because this one here is like, it's almost perfect. If it was end of the player turn, it would be perfect. Right? But because it's end of battle round, like, you have to make the judgment call, because if you go first, it's hard to like score this, right? Because then your opponent can like retake the objective from you.
Yep.
And last but not least, we have No Mercy nor Respite. Carry out your vows. So this one gives you points, or like gives you points based on killing stuff in close combat, and we'll go over how that happens. But then it also gives you the bonus points based on which vow you took, based on what you have to do depending on which vow you took.
Interesting.
Yeah. So the way this works, it's progressive. So you score 4 points at the end of the battle round if the number of enemy units destroyed by melee attacks made by Black Templar models was greater than the number of friendly Black Templar units that were destroyed during the battle round. So it's sort of like an attrition. So if you kill more than your opponent, but you have to kill more in combat than they killed in total. Right? So it's a little harder to do. Or if you've got bigger units, it's easier to do if you're not like MSUing it, basically. And it's 4 points each. You get a maximum of 12 points for that. You only have to do that 3 times in the game, and you can max that out. Okay? And then the end game component is the additional 3 points for the 15 depend on what vow you took. So if you had Suffer Not the Unclean to Live vow as selected, and the enemy warlord was destroyed by a Black Templar character unit during the battle, you get 3 points. So slay the warlord if you had Uphold the Honor of the Emperor. Suffer Not the Unclean to Live. If you had Uphold the Honor of the Emperor and a Black Templar infantry unit that's not a character unit that is not below half strength is in the enemy deployment zone at the end of the battle. So have a unit in the enemy deployment zone, but not below half strength. Abhor the Witch if you killed any enemy psychic characters during the battle. You just get 3 points. And last but not least, accept any challenge. This one's a little crazy. If any enemy unit with a starting strength of 20 or more, or an enemy model with a wounds characteristic of 20 or more was destroyed during the battle, you just get 3 points. So very, like, multi-layered, hard to score one.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a lot of words, you know. So in terms of secondaries, like the Space Marine ones are still probably going to be your best bet. However, I like the challenge one. That one can be situationally awesome and hilarious. Depending on how like confident you are in your close combat character to go up and beat up their character. And and or
They're very
yeah,
fluffy, that's
yeah,
for sure. Bob,
yeah.
what do you think?
I think it's a little bit disappointing that the Black Templars didn't get some of those auto take ones that some of the newer codexes have gotten, but they're very fluffy. Love the names of them, and like you said, that challenge one could be situationally good, against the right opponent.
Oh, 100%. I agree. Then we go into Crusade rules. Now, historically, we don't really talk about the Crusade rules much in these reviews. So, if you'd like to see Crusade more stuff, like stay tuned. We're going to do some Crusade coverage. I'm sure you folks will do some Crusade coverage over on your channel. The biggest thing to know here is you basically write your own oath.
That's awesome.
And your whole Crusade thing is to write an oath and to fulfill your oath. And then you can just write an oath, and you can't write a new oath until you've fulfilled the oath that you're currently working on.
That's
And
awesome.
each section of your oath does like different things. So basically, every oath begins with, "In the name of the immortal emperor, I hereby vow to," and then you add up to 4 sections to this oath.
Nice.
So you could be
That's
like,
really cool.
"In the name of the immortal emperor, I hereby vow to bring glory I hereby vow to reclaim his domain and slay the enemy's leaders without hesitation, regardless of what assails us." Right? And then each thing gives you there's ways to unlock relics and get more experience points. So if you're if you're a Crusade junkie like I am, this is awesome. And I'm going to be starting a Black Templar Crusade. Just saying, because I can't wait.
It's very, very fluffy. I love it. I mean, Crusade is all about the forging the narrative, as GW would say, and it's really cool to see that they really, really went to town with that for us. So I definitely want to start up a Crusade now too. We were going, my play group was going to, and it kind of fizzled out a little bit. But I'm gonna make the push and be like, we need to do Crusade again.
Crusade is really
because
fun. I feel it's one of the best ways to enjoy Warhammer 40,000. I could do a whole video on that. But if anybody's going to go on Crusade, it's a bunch of Black Templars.
Exactly.
Just saying. And they also gave us a name generator as well. So if you're, having a hard time coming up with good old Germanic Crusader names, you can go with Cedric Grosmond. Or
Cedric the Entertainer.
Yeah. Avar Ulbrecht.
Nice.
Cool. Have fun with that.
Nice.
There's some cool Crusade armies, like Centurions, in the cool Crusade armies and stuff. But these new models they did are just phenomenal. Okay, then we go to the data sheets. So this is the last little segment that we're going to go over. We'll talk about rules and we'll talk about stuff. But War Gear and Options basically kind of explains how that works. Additional War Gear options. This is the first time I've seen a supplement do this. The first time I've ever seen a supplement do this, and I love it. So, several Black Templar miniatures are equipped with weapons that are not available to these models when they are taken from other chapters. Black Templar Marshals, Black Templar Castellans, and of course the multi-Meltars on tanks. If a Primaris Captain is from the Black Templars chapter, you can use the following additional War Gear option for them. If this model is not equipped with a Mastercrafted Power Sword, its Bolt Pistol and Mastercrafted Auto Bolt Rifle can be replaced with an Auto Flamer and a Mastercrafted Power Sword, an Auto Flamer and a Mastercrafted Power Axe, a Plasma Pistol and a Mastercrafted Power Sword, or a Plasma Pistol and a Mastercrafted Power Axe.
That's the Marshal they previewed, basically.
Correct. AKA you can do a whole, it's cool. I love it. It's like, you know what? We made new models. Here's hopefully that, they end up doing a single captain data entry in the next codex instead of having 50 different captain entries.
Right.
Anyway, that's a topic for another video. The Castellan is a lieutenant from the Black Templars chapter. If you use it, the additional War Gear option. This model's Auto Bolt Rifle can be replaced with a Combi Flamer and a Mastercrafted Power Axe, which is the Castellan guy that we saw, the big, chunky guy.
Chonk.
I love him, by the way.
Castellan Blanche. That's what
I
I'm calling
love
him.
This model's bolt pistol and mastercrafted auto bolt rifle can be replaced with one of the following: a heavy bolt pistol and a chainsword. So you can just have a regular lieutenant with like a chainsword and a bolt pistol. Heavy bolt pistol and a mastercrafted power sword. An auto plasma and an Astartes chainsword, or an auto plasma and a mastercrafted power sword.
Nice.
Yeah, so you have like some options for your lieutenants.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is pretty cool. Justinia says, how is this live at 6 a.m.? We've been live for 2 hours, my good friend.
Yes.
We've been live
You're late to the
since
party.
5 a.m. You're late. You're late. You're very, very late. And last but not least, if a Gladiator Lancer, a Gladiator Reaper, a Gladiator Valiant, an Impulsor, or a Repulsor Executioner is from the Black Templar Chapter, you can use the following additional wargear option. You can give them a multi-meltar instead of an Iron Hail Heavy Stubber. And if a Repulsor is from the Black Templar Chapter, you can give them a multi-meltar instead of a additional Iron Hail Heavy Stubber. I love this. I absolutely love this.
You can get an extra multi-melta on your Gladiator Valiant. That's pretty sweet.
You know, it's awesome. Like, I have my little impulsors, which I'm equipping with their, with like the rocket launchers or whatever, because they have a 5-up invulnerable save now just for being Black Templars. And I then give them an extra multi-melter.
Yeah.
They are 20 points though, so it's hefty points, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, the Shield Dome is 15 points, which you save by taking the vow. So
might as well take it.
5 points more.
Okay, folks, into the data sheets. What everybody's been kind of looking for and hoping for and all that good stuff. Let's dive right into the nitty-gritty. High Marshal Helbrecht himself has passed the Rubicon Primaris and is now a Primaris Space Marine with a big fancy sword cleaner.
Who's full of memes.
Who's full of memes. Too many memes. So he's equipped with Ferocity, which his is Combi Melta. The Sword of the High Marshals, frag and crack grenades. And he is movement 6 inches, weapon skill, ability skill 2+, strength and toughness 4. He has 8 wounds, 6 attacks. 8 wounds. 6 attacks,
8 wounds.
Leadership 9, and a 2+ save.
What a beast.
Yeah.
8 wounds.
He is an 8 wound monster.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Isn't like Guilliman 9 wounds?
Yep. Yeah, he's pretty beefy.
I love it.
He's been around for a while. He's yeah. So Ferocity is a bolt rifle. So just like a bolt rifle, 30-inch rapid fire 2, strength 5, -1, 1 damage. So it's like a cool 2-shot bolt rifle. And then his super meltagun from Ferocity, strength 5, -1.
Nice.
Yes, it's a better bolt rifle. His meltagun is 12-inch assault 1, strength 8, -4, d6 +2 damage at all ranges.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Of course, as a combi weapon, if you choose to fire both, he gets a -1 to hit.
He's still hitting on 3s, so
Yeah, that's
okay.
Yep.
Might as well.
The Attendant's Thrall's Fists. His attendants get 2 additional attacks, no more, no less. 2 additional attacks in combat, strength 3, no AP, 1 damage. You get 2 strength 3 attacks in addition to everything else he does from his attendants.
Nice.
Cloth damage.
That's
Cloth
right.
damage.
And
Windex.
the sword question says, FD says, is there any point in taking a regular marshal instead of Helbrecht? To be honest, it just depends if you want to have a marshal that has access to all the amazing relics, right? Like, that's the thing. Is there's so many good relics, and yeah, Helbrecht is 160 points. So you could almost take a captain and a lieutenant, you know what I mean, for that cost, basically. Yeah. Like, he's pricey.
Yeah.
The Sword of the High
Marshals... But he's only 5 points more than he is now.
Yeah. The Sword of the High Marshals, though, got a huge buff. Okay?
Yes.
Yeah. Each time you make an attack with this weapon, select one of the profiles below. You can either attack one-handed or two-handed. If you attack one-handed, it's +2 strength, -3 AP, so it's a better power sword. but you make 2 hit rolls instead of 1 for every attack.
Nice.
So he has
he's got
12 strength
attacks.
5. Yeah, 12 strength 5 attacks.
So to note, that stacks with Shock Assault because when you
so it'd
Shock
be
Assault is 1 extra attack.
14 strength 5 attacks when you charge.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, baby. I love it. And then so good. And then two-handed is times 2 strength, minus 3 damage.
Nice.
So he comes with 6 Thunderhammer attacks that don't suffer -1 to hit.
Hitting on 2s.
That are AP 3, no less.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I
so
love that.
great to be able to use that.
He is.
Yeah.
You're gonna see him a lot. He is a freaking tank. That guy is awesome.
Love that the Sword of the High Marshals finally is the amazing weapon that it should be. I mean, it's literally made from Dorn's sword.
Yep.
That's what it's made from. Then that's why it should be so powerful. It's a freaking Primarch weapon.
Correct.
So I love it. I love it. That is
Helbrecht
awesome.
got an upgrade and it shows. I got the old Helbrecht model and a new base for him. And I'm going to put some servitors on his base too.
Nice.
Exactly.
Are you going to buy the new model?
I'm going to get him eventually. But for now, until they release it, I'm literally going to be using the old model on a bigger base.
Nice.
Okay, so we have Angels of Death. Then he has the Crusaders Wrath aura. So a core unit within 6 inches gets +1 strength. So he doesn't give it to characters, just core units. And Rites of Battle, like a captain, reroll hit rolls of 1, and a chapter master, pick a unit of core or character within 6, reroll all hit rolls. Right?
Nice.
And he has a 4-up invulnerable save.
Nice.
Yeah.
He's a beast.
He is Primaris, though, so he gets access to Transhuman now, which is really, really good. And all
8
the other
freaking
cool
wounds.
Primaris stuff that's really neat.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Colin says,
I love it.
"Congratulations, Skari." Thanks, buddy. Did I win something? Yeah. I know Colin.
He's Black Templars.
Yeah. I'm just really happy because Black Templars are amazing. Okay, Chaplain Grimaldus. You ready for this?
That is a huge data sheet, sir.
Yeah, he's got lots of stuff.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. So Chaplain
This is the one
Grimaldus.
we've been waiting for.
So it's movement 6, weapon skill 2, ballistic skill 3, strength and toughness 4, 5 wounds for Grimaldus, 4 attacks, leadership 9 with a 3-up save. And he is in a unit with 3 Xenobite Servitors, which are 6 movement, weapon skill, ballistic skill 4, strength 3, toughness 4, 1 wound, 1 attack, leadership 6, and a 4-up save. So Grimaldus and 3 Servitors make a unit of 4. That is a character unit of 4.
Nice. That's important.
That is super important. He has his Plasma Pistol, Artificer Crozius, Frag and Crack Grenades. 1 Xenobite Servitor has the Banner of the Fallen. 1 Xenobite Servitor has the Remnant. 1 Xenobite Servant has a Scepter. And you can only have 1 Grimaldus in your army. Cool. So Plasma Pistol is the same old Plasma Pistol we love and charge. Roll a 1 to hit overcharged and he dies. Excellent.
So good. Overcharge all your Grimaldus shots.
Oh, the server is optional? No, the server is not optional. Yeah. This is a unit now. You buy Grimaldus for 140 points, and you get
that's
him.
A big increase.
Yes, you get him and his 3 servitors. It's a unit of 4, but it's a character unit.
Yes, which means he has protection from
implications of this is ridiculous. Okay, so. The Artificer Crozius is +2 strength, -2 AP, 2 damage.
So, same as now. That's good.
Yeah, so it's a little bit better than a regular Crozius. So, other war gear. So you have 3 different pieces of war gear. Banner of the Fallen Crusaders. So the bearer has the following ability. It's an aura. While the friendly Black Templar core or Black Templar character unit, that includes Grimaldus, is within 6 inches of this unit. Each time an advance roll is made for that unit, you add D3 + 3 to the move instead of D6.
Wow.
So it's minimum advance of 4 inches if you're within 6 inches of this banner bearer.
And we re-roll if we roll a 1, so your odds of a 1 or a 2, your odds of getting a 5-inch advance are good.
Where's the reroll 1s from? Is that just a Black Templar thing?
That's our chapter tactic. We re-roll
okay.
advance and charge rolls, yeah. So you
That
can
is
re-roll that
amazing.
dice, which
I
is
love it.
amazing. I
That's
love
really
it.
cool.
That's
Remnant
huge.
of the Fallen Temple. Another aura. While the friendly Black Templars core or character unit is within 6 of this unit, each time a model in that unit loses a wound, on a 6-up, that wound is not lost.
Grimaldus is an apothecary.
So Grimaldus is
Yep.
also an apothecary. Okay.
Awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's a 6-inch aura too, not a 3-inch. So it's a better
Wow.
apothecary.
Wow.
The Scepter of Anointing. Each time a roll is made to determine if a litany is recited by Grimaldus, add 1 to the roll.
Nice. So he does it on 2s now.
Yes.
Yep, and that
That's
was really
huge.
important.
He got a big buff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, all in all, that's crazy. Now, for anybody who doesn't understand what we're talking about with the character unit, is you can take a unit called Company Veterans, which means that any character within 3 inches of a company veteran cannot be targeted with ranged weapons. They don't just get lookouts, sir. They just cannot be shot at with any ranged
Period.
weapons, no matter
Yep.
how close you are to them. Which means that you can have a unit of, like, you can have a wall, and you can have a veteran unit behind a wall, and then you can have 1, 2, 3, 4 Grimaldus model units in a big line, 2 inches between, which is like a 10-inch line or something like that, or 12 inches on an objective that's out in the open, right? That an entire Adeptus Mechanicus army can see, and you can't shoot Grimaldus, who's holding that objective.
This is
So,
ridiculous.
Let me ask you this: did the auras? Do they say unit or model?
The auras, so they go from the model of the specific model that's casting the aura, but it's the units. So units that are within 6, units that are within 6.
Okay.
Ignore damage.
So you can't make Grimaldus's aura bubble really massive.
No. It's from that specific model. However, the fact that you can like make him immune to shooting, and because a lot of people do that with Saint Celestine, they have Sacrosancts behind a wall, and they put both the Celestine's units, like both the Celestine's bodyguards, and then Celestine on an objective in the middle of the table, and then you can't shoot her. And then, because she's stringing all the way back to her bodyguards. So you can do the same thing with Grimaldus, except Grimaldus has 3 models as a bodyguard instead of... So you can actually extend it just that much further to be shenanigans.
Yeah.
Pure and utter shenanigans. And I love
That's awesome.
So he is an Angel of Death. He does have a spiritual leader. So every unit within 6 inches core can use his leadership at 9 instead of their own leadership. He has a 4-up invulnerable save. He can deny a psychic power as if he were a psyker with Devout. Nice. And he has mindless followers, so you have to allocate wounds to the servitors first before you put them on Grimaldus. But any servitors lost do not count for morale. Right? So you can't make Grimaldus run away by killing his servitors. And the servitors cannot be the warlord. So you can't make the servitor models the warlords, so you can't do the whole warlord traits from the servitor models. It has to be from Grimaldus' model. And last but not least, Indomitable Resolve. Once per battle, when this unit is destroyed, you can choose to roll a d6 at the end of the phase instead of using any other rules like fight and death, for example. If you do so, then on a 4+, Chaplain Grimaldus gets back up from the dead.
Nice.
With 3 wounds remaining.
Oh my god. He had a rule like that in the 4th edition codex.
He did. It's
I
back,
love it.
Baby. He's legit.
I love it.
Just on a 4-up, he's stands back up. It's ow!
And something I want to point out, the servitors have a wound each, you have to allocate to them first. That's fine. Yep. He has 5 wounds, which means he effectively has 8 wounds.
Mm-hmm. And this is one of the only units of servitors that gets chapter doctrines. So each servitor because it's a unit, and they all share the same keywords: infantry, character, primaris, priest,
I'll have a
Repost,
5-up
chaplain,
invulnerable
Grimaldus.
save if you take that.
And they do not have the servitor keyword is not here. Literally, no servitor
Nice.
keyword, which means that they would also have a 5-up invul. So really, Grimaldus has 8 wounds.
Yeah.
Plus, he can come back on a 4+. Like
Yep.
he is.
So I'm betting that you could probably use an apothecary to resurrect one of those servitors.
You can, because can you resurrect any infantry unit or any infantry model? I'm pretty sure you could, right? Or is it any core unit? I think it might be core.
Let me get my.
Anyway, we'll check that out.
No, I
We'll
don't-
check that out. So
I'm
he
checking
is
that
a priest. He knows the Litany of Hate and 2 other litanies from the litanies of the Devout. So he can only take Black Templar litanies, and he can recite 2 litanies on a 3+. They are inspiring. And of course, for
Nice.
litany's sakes, you measure all distances to and from Grimaldus himself.
Does he have the Master of Sanctity keyword?
He does. So you can
Alright,
no
so
longer
double-
do double masters,
double.
basically.
But
He
we have
is
that
a
stratagem.
master.
We have that
Correct.
stratagem, so we can sort of do it.
Mhm.
All right, so here's the stratagem for combat revival for apothecaries.
Yeah.
It is any chapter infantry or chapter biker unit. So
yes, you can use a
nice.
chaplain, apothecary to bring back the aura that you need when you need it. Amazing.
That's awesome. That's amazing.
So cool. So Chaplain Grimaldus, yay or nay?
100% yay.
Yay.
He bumped up like 45 points. I think he's
Yeah.
95 right now.
Yeah.
But it's 100% worth it. Those auras are incredibly powerful. And
This the
yeah,
game mechanics
him giving
alone is incredibly powerful. Of having
Yeah.
a unit of characters that can hide behind like some like company veterans, can string out, like comes back to life, like inspires litanies on a 2+, just stock built in.
feel no pain.
Feel no pain for
Built
everybody
in.
around him. Like you
The
know,
advance.
deny the witch roll. You know, an extra helps
Guaranteeing-
with the advance.
Guaranteeing a large advance for like a unit of Terminators.
He is also Primaris. The whole unit can be transhumaned, right? Like,
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
that's awesome.
yeah,
That's
It's
fantastic. He's
really
great.
Good. He's so
He's
good.
really good.
Anyway, moving on. The Emperor's Champion. So if you remember, the Emperor's Champion is pretty much the same except Primaris-sized. Like, he's pretty standard, except they gave back the whole you fight with 2 modes on your Black Sword now again,
Nice.
which is
Like
exciting. Anybody who's a fan of the double-handed original Emperor's Champion was like, I'm going to hit you
Oh yeah.
with an instant death, 1 attack.
Oh yeah,
you know,
that's right. The instant death.
whatever it was a power fist, so you could like gut a war boss in like a single hit or whatever. So the Emperor's Champion, movement 6, weapon skill 2, ballistic skill 3, strength and toughness 4, 5 wounds now, 5 attacks now, leadership 9, 2-up save. He is equipped with a bolt pistol, black sword, frag, and crack grenades. The bolt pistol is your basic bolt pistol. The black sword, you get to pick one of 2 weapon profiles. So the sweeping blow is +3 strength, -3 AP, 2 damage. So,
Nice.
just a standard sweeping blow. And then the thrusting strike is ×2 strength, -4 AP, 3 damage, -1 to hit.
Nice.
I
I
love
mean, he's
having
hitting
the
on 2s,
versatility.
so
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
If you need to smash something,
Mhm.
you can smash something. -1. I mean, whatever. He's got 2+ weapon skills, so you're still hitting on 3s.
He's a very straightforward character. He's 100 points.
Nice.
That's it. He's
What
It's just unfortunate.
what abilities?
Still in the
Yeah.
HQ.
Yeah.
He is an HQ,
Yeah.
which is fine, but like, yeah, he's competing with chaplains and stuff. But if you just need a punchy character and you don't want to overthink it, your Emperor's Champion.
He can
is the
ride
way
an
to go.
impulsor now.
He can definitely ride an impulsor, and he can be transhuman, and he can make people have to fight him, and there's a whole bunch of stuff you can do, right? Like, there's
Yeah.
a whole
Yeah.
bunch of
He
things.
can pick
you
his
can do with
warlord
that.
trait now.
He can pick his warlord trait, which could be +1 strength every time he charges, or +1 attack, right? Or +1 +1 attack or whatever. Okay, so Angel of Death, he has a 4-up invulnerable save with the Armor of Faith. his skillful parry, so when you attack him in combat, is -1 to hit, same as like
Nice.
company champions. Sigismund's Heir, so each time he makes a melee attack against a character unit, you can reroll hits and wounds. Just reroll
Nice.
hits and wounds against characters. You can never give him any relics because he has holy war gear. Martial superiority, if he's in engagement range of any enemy characters, he fights first. And then honor or death, he can heroically intervene 6 inches.
Nice.
And he can either move closer to the nearest enemy model or get within engagement range of an enemy character. So
Nice.
he can basically try and make the characters closer, basically. So he's got a 6-inch
Yeah.
heroic.
Yep.
Which is
He
good.
rerolls hits and wounds against characters. He's -1 to hit. So he's like a good all-rounder, just like a punchy character. Right? Pretty standard stuff. So let's dive into the Primaris Crusader Squad. So Primaris Crusader Squad is a minimum of 10 models.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
We were wondering about that because they've been previewing them with 10 models. So
Yeah. So it is a minimum. You get 5 initiates, 4 neophytes, 1 sword brother as the minimum squad. You can have up to 11 initiates, 1 sword brother, and 8 neophytes. Right? So
in any combination,
well, in any combination past the,
the minimum, right?
Correct.
So you could add just 8 more neophytes.
You could add
Or
4 more neophytes.
4 more neophytes.
Just
Okay.
for, if you just wanted to make the squad bigger. In
Okay.
terms of point cost, a Primaris Initiate is 19 points, and they come with a sword and with a chainsword and bolt pistol. They do
Okay.
come with auto bolt rifles though, as a standard option, which means
Okay.
it'd be +1 point for that. So 20 points with an auto bolt rifle.
That
And then
tracks
the-
for regular intercessors
Yep.
points cost. So
And then a Primaris Neophyte is 16 points.
nice.
Yeah.
That is well costed.
That is cheap for what you get.
Yes.
And considering they have a 4-up armor save, the 5-up invul save is going to come real in handy for them.
Yep.
From the Vow, if anybody's wondering where we came up with that.
Right.
Yeah, the
If you
Emperor's
didn't
Champion.
tune in time,
That's right. The Emperor's Champion did lose all his bonuses against monsters. It's just against characters now.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have you can have the Sword Brother can have instead of a power sword, a power axe. You can have the Sword Brother's heavy bolt pistol can have a pyre pistol, so a flamer pistol. All of the neophytes can have their bolt pistol and chain swords replaced with a shotgun or a bolt carbine. So depending on what you want. Sure. Any number of initiates can have their auto bolt rifle replaced with a heavy bolt pistol and 1 chainsword, so you can have a mix and match, right? So there's no longer ever an opportunity for you to have 1999 points. Just give a dude an auto bolt rifle and do it 2,000 points, please.
Yeah.
My OCD will thank you for that. For every 10 models in this unit, up to 2 initiates can have their auto bolt rifle replaced with a pyre blaster, a heavy bolt pistol, and or a heavy bolt pistol and a power fist.
Wow. So you can get 2 power fists?
In the 10-man squad, or 4 in a 20.
That is awesome.
With the sword brother that has the sword that could then be the sword of judgment, right?
Yeah.
So you could literally have 5 models in that unit that are like
That are
a
simply
mini
power fists.
Terminator unit.
Well, and they with
Damage
the
2 shotguns.
And
With-
damage 2 shotguns, baby.
and with the Primaris now, see normally like with a firstborn Crusader, typically you could take a power fist with them, currently.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily recommend that because it's a 1 attack model,
Yeah.
but they've got 2 base attacks,
Yeah.
3 on the charge. That's significant. I like that a
Or
lot.
3 all the time if Chaplain prays.
Or
to
3
them.
all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With a
Nice.
whole bunch of variety of different ways to buff it. So all in all, Primaris Crusader squads, other than the fact that they don't fit in an impulsor, are pretty cool. I have a repulsor. I'm totally putting them in a repulsor because of the fact that reminds me of running a Crusader back in the day.
Wasn't one of the Relic Bearer things for squads a power fist?
A super power fist. Oh yeah. A 3 damage power fist with no negative modifier to hit, which then you can combine with the Sword of Judgment on the super sergeant that has an extra attack and an extra weapon skill. Whatever. You can get creative. Okay, let's just say you can get creative.
Interesting choice on the neophytes that they are all shotguns, all close combat, or all
Yes.
carbines.
Yeah, they have to. You have to pick them. You got to pick and choose. I guess.
What's
Interesting.
what's the bolt carbine stat line?
So the bolt carbine is 24 inches, assault 2, strength 4.
Okay.
So it's
Not
like an auto bolt rifle, except it's 2 shots instead of 3.
2 shots.
So it's a 2-shot auto bolt rifle instead of 3. That's it.
That's better than it because they kind of look like bolters.
Yeah.
Regular bolters.
Well, when you think
That's
about
definitely
it, like
better than a regular bolter.
You could have like a whole unit of 20 of them, right? So say 20 of them, all with auto bolt rifles and bolt carbines or whatnot, and then run them next to Grimaldus, who gives them D3 plus 3 on the advance roll with a reroll on the advance roll, and then give them the strat for 1 CP to just shoot an advance with assault weapons with no penalty, and you can literally have like a really fast on foot moving unit that can then like devout push even further every turn, and then just like roll a bazillion dice at you, right? So there's lots of, I like that there's different ways that I'm seeing to play the list itself. You can go shooty, you can go really combat heavy, there's and I like that versatility in the list building process. Yeah.
What keywords do they have?
So they have Imperium, Astartes, Black Templars, and they have Infantry Corps Primaris Crusader Squad.
Okay.
Straight
Nice.
up. No smoke screen though, which is a bit of a shame. I was looking for smoke screen. I was like, they don't.
But they do have transhuman, and you can transhuman a 20-man squad for 2 CP
with a 5-up invul save and a 6-up feel no pain. Right? You know what I mean? Like,
good luck removing that unit.
And then maybe the sergeant ignores AP 1 and 2 and is in cover. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Good luck getting rid of those guys. It's gonna be annoying. Okay, moving on.
So. Before we move on real quick, Bob, I want to get your thoughts on it. What do you think? Bob is probably the more competitive player of the two of us. Obviously, we try to focus the channel on making sure that we're playing as competitively as we can, so Black Templars can get some wins out there. Bob, what do you think of this unit, especially being minimum 10-man size?
So I think they're still priced appropriately to make them viable, even at the 10-man squad. You got a bunch of different options for them. The stratagem support, you're talking about different things. For example, those shotguns that we can do. You can also take them in a large squad with the numerous buffs that we can throw on them to make sure that they stick around between the vows and getting Grimaldus, maybe potentially to escort them or a chaplain.
Yeah,
we can keep them around. They're going to be a huge damage dealer, I think, if you do it that way. They're just a great unit. Honestly, they're going to be really difficult to take out.
Well, and we talked about the litany, and I mentioned you probably need something like 50-something attacks to cap that 6 mortal wound cap. These guys can do it because they have 2 attacks each, right? The neophytes have 2 attacks each as well.
2 attacks each, yeah. Everything has 2 attacks. Plus a chainsword, plus a charge that's 4 attacks base, plus potentially an additional attack from plus additionally, what is it, exploding 6 or something. Anyway, there's
so you can end up with base on the charge. They got 4 attacks each.
And you can give them like the
20.
seal or whatever, and make them pick a unit to reroll hits and wounds against, and then you could give another unit reroll hits with the chaplains, or you can you're going to be rolling lots of dice, and it's not like they're just AP1. Like, it's AP1, AP2, and Assault Doctrine, which they're probably going to be anyway if you, like, Crusader Helm them or whatever. So then they're just AP2 base, and then you can do the, extra AP, and then the
auto
extra
wounds.
AP, like this,
Bob, do you think Black Tide is back on the menu?
Potentially in a limited form. I don't think taking multiple 20-man squads is going to be point efficient.
Lost weapons can be very nasty, so you want to be careful with that. Especially against all the orc stuff. Like, all of a sudden, like, instead of 3d3 rockets, they just have 9 rocket shots at you. That could come and hurt you.
That's where transhuman will help a lot.
That is very true.
So,
then we have the good old run-of-the-mill Crusader squad. It's pretty much the same as before. You can have a minimum of 5, 4 initiates and a sword brother. You can have up to 10, so 9 initiates, 1 sword brother, and 10 neophytes. They're pretty much the same as they were before. If they have
I'm
any
assuming
neophytes,
they didn't keep their ludicrously low cost.
I believe they're now costed like Marines are normally. So Crusader squads are 13 points for a neophyte, 18 points for anything else. Yeah, so they didn't get their, they didn't keep their silly.
So the neophyte went down a point.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know why they were ever 15 points. That was very bizarre to me, and that made it through several FAQs. So
Totally did, right?
I don't know why. It's weird.
So then we have Crusader Squad is up to 20 models. The Sword Brother can have a pistol or a melee weapon. You can give him a combi weapon or a melee weapon list. Any number of neophytes in here can have shotguns or combat knives. So you could have, and I don't think there is a cap anymore on having one neophyte or any like incentive to have more neophytes than initiates. So you could have 10 neophytes and then 4 initiates and a Sword Brother, I'm pretty sure.
Did they keep their weird paired combatants rule?
They did not get that. They didn't keep that
That's
rule.
fine.
However,
It
having
was
10
weird
neophytes
anyway.
and 5 of them, you can means that you have a whole bunch of shotguns in there if you wanted to do the crazy shotgun thing.
Yeah.
They can have combat knives. If they have 9 or fewer models, then one Balkan can be a power fist, power maul, power sword, or heavy weapon, or a special weapon. If it has 10 or more, then one can have a special weapon, and then one can have a heavy weapon or power sword, power axe, or whatever. So it's 10 or more. They don't get like a lot of options. Just like 2 models can be upgraded no matter how big the squad is. But they do get smokescreen if there's any neophytes in the unit. However, they did lose the Melt-A-Bomb keyword, which is a bit of a shame because I love that stratagem.
Yes, great strat.
Yeah, especially when you're fighting a lot of vehicles and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, last but not least, the Primaris Sword Brethren. Now, this unit is iconic because they literally took the old metal Primaris models and made them into Primaris. I mean, old metal like Sword Brethren models, made them into Primaris, and they look freaking amazing.
Fabulous. I love it.
Yeah.
Every one of those models is sick. They're so good.
They're so good. So this unit is 4 to 10 models.
Oh.
Okay, so
I like
minimum
that.
4. Yeah. So if it has 5 models, it becomes like a power rating 8 if you do power rating. So like you just get +1. And then you can go up from there. So every model is equipped standard with a heavy bolt pistol and a chainsword. So you can literally just take assault intercessors and paint them up as Primaris Sword Brethren if you don't want to or convert them up. But heavy bolt pistol and a chainsword is your basic Sword Brethren. Cheap as chips, basic Sword Brethren for movement 6, weapon skill 3, ballistic 3, strength toughness 4, 2 wounds, 3 base attacks, leadership 8, and a 3+ save. For a grand total point cost of 22 points a model. So for 2 points more than a regular guy or 3 points more than a regular intercessor, you get an extra attack and an extra leadership, basically.
And the Sword Brethren keyword.
And the Sword Brethren keyword, which allows them to do all this other stuff. They have a really cool ability, which we'll get to in a second, which is really cool. So any number of Sword Brothers can each have their chainsword replaced with a power sword. So if you just want to have a bunch of dudes with heavy bolt pistol power sword, you can just give them all power swords, and that costs an additional 3 points a model.
Okay, so they get the Vanguard vet discount.
Correct.
Nice.
If this unit contains 9 or fewer models, right? So if you have 9 or fewer models, then 2 of them can have heavy bolt pistols with pyre pistols, so you can give like flamer pistols, sure. But then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different options. You can either do a Thunderhammer, pair of lightning claws, a power axe, or a power maul, or a plasma pistol. Okay,
so that's one each of those.
One of each of those. You can't have all of them the same. You can have one of each. But if you have 10 models, then it's 2 of each.
Okay.
So it's up to 9. So 9 models is 1 of each. But as soon as you hit 10 models, it's 2 of each. But they do have the combat squad rule, which means if you have the 10 and then you do 2 Thunderhammers, 2 Lightning Claws, 2, you know what I mean? Like you can kind of split them into like different units of things you want to do with them, or put them in impulsors or do stuff like that, which is really, really cool. Right?
What's the pyre pistol?
So the pyre pistol is a pistol D6, strength 3 -1. So it is an AP 1 flamer, but it's strength 3.
How many inches?
It's 12 inches.
12 inches. Okay.
Yeah.
It's
It's
not awful.
D6. It's D6 hits. D6 hits
Yeah.
at strength 3 AP1. It's like a cool frag grenade, basically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it does have access to the stratagem of potentially being a blast weapon. Like, and you know what I mean? Like, potentially. So, they do have abilities. Angels of Death, combat squads, which is really cool to make them versatile, especially if you have multiple different units. There's no sergeant. You can always use, like, the Relic Bearers, so you can have one unit with Relic Bearer, whatever. Like, they have access to all that cool stuff. Vow Sworn Bladesman is their other ability. While any Templar vows are in effect, this unit is not affected by the vow's passion.
Nice. That's big.
That is huge. They can
Yeah.
fall back if nobody can fall back. They can do actions if nobody can do actions. They can, you know, they don't have to declare a charge on the closest thing that's not engaged.
They can get cover.
They can get
They
cover.
can get cover and a 5-up and roll.
And a 5-up invulnerable save. Like, these guys are the meat and potatoes. I really, really like the Sword Brethren.
I like them.
And for a command
something
point,
else,
they can also be upsec.
Yeah. Something else I like that I was thinking about with combat squads. You know, only being able to take one of those weapons is a little weird, and some people probably think, well, that's not optimal. You know, I'd want to take multiples of whatever. So you take 10 guys, and you take like 2 Thunderhammers, 2 Lightning Claws, and a Power Sword, and stick them in one squad.
Yeah.
And then you just take either chain swords or power swords, because
Yeah.
they're pretty cheap, 3 points, and stick the other dudes in the other squad, and make one of those dudes in the other squad a super sergeant with like the Sword of Judgment, and you know, beef them up. And now he has like 4 ablative wounds, or 4 ablative models.
Yeah. 100%. You know, and it's
So-
one of those things where you can have either 10 strong unit, then have, say, the simplest way would be to have 2 with Thunderhammers, and then split them up into 2 5-mans and give 1 each a Thunderhammer or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's ways that you
There's
can
lots
keep
of ways
it
to do it.
cheap, right? Keep it simple. But other than that,
and there's no sergeant.
There's no sergeant.
So you don't
can't
have to worry about like,
yeah,
you know, I'm losing an attack by combat squatting them. It's exactly the same.
100%. Other than that, folks, there's the some point values and stuff there, but it's pretty much like what you'd expect for everything. There you have it, Alex,
Awesome.
Bob, the entirety, and everybody in chat. Thank you so much. We've got almost 100 people watching right now. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot for coming to hang out with us live.
Yeah, thanks for inviting us.
This has literally been like amazing. So before we finish up for the day, and after this 3-hour-long marathon, right? Which I really have to go to the bathroom on a bio break. But what are your final thoughts, Bob?
I think it's going to be. Yeah. I think it's going to be a great change from what we've kind of been mono build on the different things, relying on those 2 stratagems, Devout Push, Emperor's Will. Now we can actually expand our army list out a little bit.
Yeah.
From doing that, utilizing our vows, we can do a whole lot of different archetypes. Maybe you want to do mechanization. Maybe you want to do MSU. Maybe you can do pseudo Black Tide potentially with some few units. I think this opens up so much more in the competitive game. A lot more choices, a lot more tactical flexibility, more reliable overall.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like this is everything I wished for from a Black Templars Codex. Personally, Alex, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I love it. I think that Devout Push and Emperor's Will previously were kind of almost a crutch for us. We relied so heavily on those 2 as sort of how we run the army, and they're both essentially gone. And they're in there but different. But I think we have many, many more options. We got a big buff in ability to deal damage. That was one thing that we were really lacking in the index is, we were durable and fast because we could take divine protection, which we still can, which is great. And we were fast because we could advance and devout push and all that stuff. We're still pretty fast. especially with Grimaldus, guaranteeing high advance rolls for early game movement. Devout Push is now, a great movement tool instead of a pseudo heroic intervention. Like Bob said, being able to take different archetypes. You know, Currently, Crusader squads are basically, taken as a cheap backfield objective sitting unit in a 5-man as cheaply as possible,
Yeah.
which isn't really like lore friendly. Like they're taken only because they're cheap. If they were 18 points a model, we wouldn't be taking them. We take like assault intercessors instead. So being able to take like a Primaris Crusader squad, which is costed awesome. Like I love Neophytes at 16 points is a steal because it's you for 3 points less, you only lose 1 pip of armor save. And if you're taking the Uphold the Honor Vow, you anything that's more than anything that's not AP 0, you're getting a 5-up invul on. So who cares that that's
Or
1 pip
or
less?
anything that's AP 1 and 2, you're putting on the sergeant. That
Yeah, with minus with who ignores it.
yeah.
So it's there's so many not only like really good competitive options in here, but it all has so much flavor and it feels Black Templar. It feels right for our army. We're able to take really fluffy armies that are also competitive. And I think GW 100% knocked it out of the park on this book. All the names of stuff and the background lore bits are excellent.
You have to
um
read every little excerpt and just like
yeah,
smile and giggle the whole time. It's
yeah.
hilarious. Yeah.
Even if the secondaries aren't that great, boy are they named great. It's like bathe in the blood of whatever. So
Bathe your blade
bathe
in the
your
blood of your
blade.
foes, or whatever it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm really, really pleased. I did a fantastic job. I love all the throwback stuff to our old codex and our old
Yeah.
art and our old
Very
miniature
good fan
line.
service in that sense. Like as a fan of Black Templars, they've made it very
Yes.
iconic in the sense that it's gonna encourage new players to play the faction. But any of us
Yep.
old dogs that have been playing the faction for a long
Yep.
time are like, I remember this and I remember this. This
Yeah.
it's really cool.
Well, and
Yeah.
I think too, for a long time, especially since 6th edition, a lot of Black Templar fans in the community have felt neglected by GW, that we, were just sort of relegated. There was even like naysayers would talk, oh, they're going to squat us. We'll just be, a codex chapter or whatever. So this really should just put the final nail in that coffin, that we definitely got everything that we could have ever wanted and more. So
Yeah.
I'm super pleased. I cannot wait to get this codex and put it on the table and start playing some games with. The biggest problem is I don't know how I'm gonna choose all these awesome relics and things that we can take. This is gonna be like, Alex, how many CP do you start the game with? 0.
3
Because I spent them all on
CP.
all
Yeah.
these things. Yeah, 2 CP. I spent them all on these cool things, So
Yeah.
really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what you folks cook up. Huge shout out to everybody who watched live. If you liked the video, make sure you click that little like button. Helps the video get noticed. Share it with all your friends so that people can check it out as well. Before we finish, why don't you tell us about where we can find you, Bob and Alex, on the Implausible Nature YouTube page?
Yeah, so just search Implausible Nature on YouTube. We'll be right there. We have a lot of great Black Templar content. Obviously, anything that we've talked about that was competitive in nature is now out of date. But don't worry, we are going to be working on a ton of new videos coming up on how to field Black Templars, what our thoughts are, more in-depth analysis of stuff coming up real soon. So come check us out on Implausible Nature. We also have a Discord, same name. And links to that are in all of our videos. So if you guys want to come and talk Black Templars in our Discord channel, we would love to have you. It's a really good growing community. We're also doing a giveaway on our YouTube channel of the new box set. All you have to do to enter is subscribe and come to the Discord channel and pop in the in our giveaway channel #giveaway, and that will enter you for a chance to win that awesome new box set. So yeah, come check us out. And
I love it.
thank you for having us on. We really appreciate it. This was a great opportunity, great fun to reveal it live. So
Yep. Thanks for having us on.
Well, thanks for coming on. It was really cool to see you both like go all beady-eyed when I was like, and this, and you're like, oh my god, that is amazing. I'm like, yes, it is. A huge shout out to everybody watching. Thanks for clicking like. Leave a comment down below. Let us know what your favorite thing for the Black Templar Codex is. Do you feel it's going to be competitive? I can't wait to find out. Of course, I've got a Patreon if you'd like to support the channel. All the links are down below, as well as the links to the Implausible Nature YouTube channel, which will be down below. Go check them out and get yourselves in on that raffle, because that box set, which is the thing GW sent me, is incredible. It's amazing. There's so much stuff in that box. It's nuts. And that's that. I think I'm going to go have breakfast now. That's a 3-hour marathon, folks.
Yeah. It's breakfast time.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot to all of you for attending. We'll see you on the next SkaredCast live stream review. Bye, everybody. Bye.
Take care.
Have a good one.